We're going to have to put barbecue sauce and
No,
blue
but it's
shells.
got to be a blind taste test.
Right.
So he
We'll put it in squirt bottles and just squirt it on him.
What did we just put on your anus?
Yeah.
On the next, what's on Jason's butthole?
Jason's anus?
That's going to be the bracket.
Welcome in to Season 4, Episode 17 of Unstable Discourse.
Yeah, boy! Yeah!
That did it.
One take. No big deal. That's how it always is.
No,
Every
it's
time.
not.
Y'all know.
I could throw so many of them in from other
Yeah.
episodes.
He's got
How
a
many
bank of
takes
them.
do you want it to be?
Need. No need.
The world may never know.
Yeah, welcome in, guys. It is the recap episode. If you've never listened to the show before, this is the episode at the end of the season where we go back and recap all the episodes we did this whole season and the cool things that we talked about and like whatever moments stood out to us. So if you've never listened before, you're going to get a lot in your ear hole.
Mm-hmm.
This is pretty much where we just talk about how cool we were.
Yeah.
All season.
All season.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if any time we've ever done this, this will be the most we will have to talk about because it's the most episodes we've done
3 extra.
for a recap.
Yeah,
Correct.
for sure.
So that's kind of fun.
FS.
So this will be harder than we've done it in the past.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
Mm-hmm.
The good news is that Jason's going to be in the driver's seat. He's been getting all caught up on the season. He knows my mind is blank on everything we did this season. So I'm
I got to
really-
talk. I got to tell you, the first half of the season is a total blur. for
Yeah.
me. So
Yeah.
Same.
Well, it was crazy. We did it like 17 years ago as well for
Yeah.
some reason.
Correct.
I don't know why that's
Yeah.
the case, but it's true.
Before we get into all that, let's introduce ourselves. I'm Alex Seminary of Disc Golf Chicago. I'm here with Ryan Fancher of Unstable Disc Golf Gear,
yes, sir.
Sean Callahan of Delwood Disc Golf,
Yeah, boy.
Jason Callahan of Bag of Tricks.
Thanks for tuning in.
He's pointing.
We got Sheila Callahan, the Deucer, on the mic with us tonight.
I am here.
And we got Lauren Lakeberg sitting in, hanging out, keeping the vibes.
Yeah.
Hanging out.
Hi, I'm here, guys, and I just wanted to let you know that I love you all.
I forgot you do that.
Yeah.
It's so good.
No, that was Lauren, dog. What are you talking about?
Lauren, thanks for chiming in.
Nobody's going to actually believe she's here.
Yeah.
Before we get to the nuts and bolts of this episode, actually scrap that. Before we get to the meat and potatoes, I'm bringing it back. I want all throwbacks. on
One
this episode.
special.
Wow,
Yeah, do
okay.
it. Do it.
Yeah,
do
yeah.
it. Do it.
Before we get to the meat and potatoes, let's start the show with Fired Up.
Oh,
That's new.
that is new.
All the way to the red.
How about ladies first? Sheila, what are you fired up about?
Ooh, good one.
Ooh. We forced Ryan basically at gunpoint today to make a new Hellwood logo.
Boy, I was not into it. I got to tell you. Yeah, it is December, and I feel like the season is over. Don't talk to me about it.
It was rough.
It-
We had zero ideas. I had sketched something maybe a month ago, and then
Which I thought was cool.
yeah.
I'm not going to cut you off, but I'm going to definitely piggyback. This is also my fired up. They're painting a not good picture for what the outcome was.
That's
We're getting there.
why I'm fired
Yeah,
up.
okay.
Is
okay,
because
okay,
it
okay, okay,
started
Okay, go.
dismal.
Yeah.
It did.
It's my fault. It's my fault. I just, the dry is so well.
Yes.
That it just, I told him from the beginning, you guys are going to have to come up with everything, and I will just try and put it on the screen because I got nothing to give.
I think this might be the best artwork yet.
Whoa.
So crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is
Sometimes-
a
Even-
statement.
2/3 of the way through this, when we could see it coming into fruitation,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I was still like, guys, I don't want to do this. I literally said those words. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like doing it. I got nothing in me. Right. And then 15 minutes later, we were like, holy shit, this is amazing.
Danny Glover poked his head in and said, "You got an angel with you right now."
You got an angel with you right now. Just got here, and he's gonna help.
Yeah. Well, I think what can make what we ended up with is sometimes Ryan's brutal honesty. First and foremost, he is the Donatello to the stuff. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to do what he's doing graphically. I can't make that happen. So he has to be stoked about it. And I'm piggybacking on yours because
Yeah,
it was
that's
definitely
fine.
going to be mine too. But it takes sometimes for Ryan to say things like, I'm not feeling this.
Mm-hmm.
So you better start making me feel it. I don't know, guys. I'm gonna jump.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so
I'm getting really sad. You know what I'm talking about? I'm going to get to the bathroom. I'm going to be alone with my own thoughts. Who knows what's going to happen up there?
That was such a
I
impression.
even though, like those moments, they kind of like, they suck, they're real, and it forces me to kind of like double down and go, all right, kind of think on my feet a little bit and make something. If I'm going to be an idea guy, then I got an idea,
You got an idea.
And I think Sheila's the same way. And then we did that. And then it led to pretty epic marketing material that became a logo for this 8-week league that we do that everybody really looks forward to in a time where we need it most. So I'm stoked.
When Dad puts his foot down,
Yeah.
usually good things follow.
Yeah.
It's the redirect that was needed. So can we talk about the logo, or we're waiting for a big reveal?
I feel like we could talk about it because this will come out after we reveal it. I would assume.
I'm thinking like
Sweet.
early next week is when we're going to roll it out. So by the
Yeah.
time this will come out on Friday. So yeah, Sheila, I mean, I took away, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'll hop in too.
So Hellwood, if anybody doesn't know, is our putting league that is ran inside the #1 haunted house in Illinois called Hell's Gate. So Hell's Gate, Dellwood, put that together, Hellwood. So the theme we want to do spooky themes, and the past couple of years the logos stood alone and they were great, but this year we went with like a vintage horror comic look and specifically Tales from the Crypt. But because of the slide, it's Tales from the Slide, and it all just kind of snowballs from there.
Slide or Die last year was like immediately as soon as we said it, we were like, oh, we're using that. Like that's perfect,
I
right?
love that logo.
But we couldn't use that again this year because then we would be locked into using it every year.
Yeah.
Because you can't
Sure.
use it for 2 years in a row and then not.
And then
Like
do
that's just how
something
it works.
Yeah.
So we were either, okay, we have to use this in perpetuity, Jason, or we have to change it up. And so once we abandoned Slide or Die for season 3, I was like, I got nothing. Man,
Sure.
I just don't know. So eventually we came to that. And I think it's great.
I would love to hear the behind the scenes on the creation of that. Like, what in the conversation, what was the turning point where it was like,
Well,
light bulbs started going off?
So because we got rid of Slide or Die, we were like, we need a new slogan that has slide in it. What are some movie titles where we can like just change the word to slide and it's funny? And we were coming up with stupid shit that's hysterical, like
28 slides later.
yeah.
Nightmare on Slide Street.
Yeah,
was
Yeah,
another one.
that
Yeah.
kind of
Down that
stuff.
yeah,
road
And
and-
we just kind of Sean came up with the specific icon artwork that was on a skateboard, right? Creature skateboards, and we
That's
were
where
like,
it started. That's what I saw.
yeah. And
Well,
then
we were going through the list and I saw Tales from the Crypt, or something that made me think of that. Or what was the other one that they did that was kind of like the urban version? Tales from the Hood.
Just from the hood,
Yeah.
Right. So I was like,
Oh, wow.
I saw that, or I thought Tales from the Crypt, and then I was like, ooh, Tales from the Slide. And then when I said it to Ryan, he was like, ooh, and I could tell when he liked something or it's meh. And I knew immediately we were going to at least venture down that road a little bit. And then it made me think of Creature Skateboards. And then we were like, well, let's look at the actual font that they use for the OG comic books, Tales from the Crypt, which became eventually the HBO show that we all knew and grew up with. And then it just went from there.
Yeah. So it's more an homage to the comic books and not the show, because we didn't want to use the Crypt Keeper.
Yeah, Crypt Keeper.
Because that just seems too cliche to like just latch on to that icon.
Yeah, agreed.
Right.
Agreed.
So we went back to that. So I think it's going to be great. And instead of using just 1 or 2 colors for the design, we're integrating the shirt color into the design and using 3 different colors. And it looks very vintage comic booky.
It's going to be sick.
Yeah.
That's always the layer that we have to put our stuff through because, and specifically for Hellwood, we always have like printed merchandise.
Right.
So it's not just logo multicolor. We're, Ryan's putting it through the filter of how can I make this work on a hoodie or a patch or a disc or this or that. And that really creates the parameters of what we end up with.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know, it's pretty cool. I love the what we went through today I like it a lot. I like doing that.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm going to throw an idea out that I have a feeling you guys already came up with. But if not, thank me later. A comic book? Like, damn it, Sheila. I can already see in her face. It's already.
Yeah.
We literally
did it.
talked about
Yeah.
it as we were doing
I
it.
said this is gonna
yearbook,
make-
like all the photos from the league that happened.
Yeah,
this year.
I said this artwork is going to make someone want us to make a comic book, and Ryan was like, "Don't."
Don't do it, Sheila.
Don't you dare.
Don't do it.
Don't put that out there.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, maybe not a whole comic book, just like a graphic, like a digital, just a spread like of like 2 pages?
Like a Facebook profile picture frame that you could put on all the photos
That's
from
good.
Hellwood.
Yes, there you go.
That make them all
I
cohesive.
like that.
Mhm.
I
There you
like
go.
that.
That's something that you can do where you're just making one, but then it makes the photo look like a comic book
Ah.
page. There you go.
Yeah.
Cool.
I-
Wow, that's exciting.
I also like the process. I really hate how it starts.
Yeah.
I really want to be in a place where I am excited about starting that, and I don't feel like I ever am.
Mm.
And I don't know when that happens, because when it's mid-season, y'all can fuck yourselves. And when I'm done with the season, y'all can fuck yourselves.
Yeah.
So I don't know when is a good time, but it works out. So
I don't think it's necessarily always being part of said process. I don't think it's a matter of when or as much as it is who. I know how to speak Ryan Fancher, and I know how to. I am the bass guitar to your drums.
Aw.
I know how you work, and I know how you want it to look. So I always go into I always go into these situations knowing exactly like where you're going to want to stop or what will make you not want to be more creative. So I think that between the three of us, it always ends up. It's like we're a band.
Yeah.
Really, that's how I look at it.
I try to be very conscious about thinking to myself, wow, this is a garbage idea and this is never going to go anywhere. And then not saying that because I don't know for sure, because half the time I'm totally wrong. My instinct is to say, nah.
We
You know.
started with literal imagery of a slide, and we were like,
Doesn't feel good?
and then it evolved into something else, and then it evolved into what it was. So it's cool to like sit there in that process. And
Yeah.
Some
We should
songs-
have a time lapse of that screen
Yes.
that you watched.
It really would be fun
You know,
to just have a
yeah.
camera set up behind what we
Yeah,
did
and
today.
just see it go from nothing into like
Yeah.
And I say to him
it's-
every time too, like, hey, you just made that happen from absolutely nothing. You
Yeah,
took an idea
yeah.
from my brain and made it that image that's now on your computer screen.
But it's so great to be like open to the possibility of change, right? Because like if you start like sometimes you just have that thing in your head, you're like, no, it's got to be a slide, it's got to be a slide,
Mhm.
and so many people will get like hung up on that
yeah,
that they won't let the magic happen. So
yeah.
it's also like good that you guys are willing to say, you know, it wasn't a great idea. Let's reboot.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. Yeah.
Yeah, we got rid of the bloody looking 3 that we started with. So it goes from that to final product.
Mhm.
It's cool.
Mhm.
Nice.
It was a trifecta fired up.
Yeah.
Well then, Jason,
Ryan did say he had
Oh,
a small
you
one.
did say you had a small one.
I don't think that's any of your business. Actually,
Sheila, you shouldn't say
that's
that.
none of your business. No, I have
Only
a very
Sean can say that.
yeah, a very
Small one.
I have a very abbreviated fired up. For the past 21-ish years, there have only been 3 or 4 times where my family has reached out and said, we want to come visit you. My wife and I, and now my child, have always gone back home to Pennsylvania to visit everyone.
Mm.
Because everybody's there. It makes more sense for us to go and see everyone than anyone to come out and see us. In our minds, though, after a while, you should come out and see us. We want you to see where we live and how we live and, you know, everything about it. And also, get the hell out of Pennsylvania for 5 damn minutes.
Mm.
Right? Because they all live within 20 minutes of each other. My whole family. Both sides.
Wow.
And so it's always taken forever, and it's always a crap ton of money in flights or, you know, a 13-hour drive there and back. And so the other day, my brother reached out to me and said, hey, what are you guys doing right after Christmas? We're going to come out and see you.
I want to
Like,
cry.
out of nowhere. It takes quite a bit for my brother to actually do something like that. And his wife's got some time off that she needs to use by the end of the year. And shocker, it's going to be the 28th through the 31st because that's what it took for them to figure it out. Was we're going to wait until the last minute. But them and their 2 children, my niece and nephew, are going to come out and stay with us for a couple days. And
Dude,
it's going to be great. So my brother's flown around a lot for work. I don't know if my sister-in-law has traveled much at all. The kids definitely have not. So they're going to lose their minds. We might as well have flown them to Mars when they're here.
it would be funny if you said the kids are really into travel, but the parents don't.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I've talked to them. I was there over the summer, and I've talked to them about the possibility of them coming out and what we could do, you know, kind of as like basically a fantasy for them because it's never going to happen. And now all of a sudden it's happening. So we're going to the Field Museum. We're going to go do all this stuff because a 7-year-old has to see Sue.
Sure, of
You
course.
know, yeah, we're going to see how that goes. But I'm super stoked for them to come out. My brother and his wife had traveled to see us at our wedding 10 years ago, and it was only for a couple days, and that was it. And otherwise, like, they've never seen where I've lived for the last however many years. So
Wow.
yeah, so it's going to be really cool.
That's great.
No,
Yeah.
that's
I'm
really,
stoked.
really, really cool.
Yeah.
It would be awesome if it lined up to where they could. When does Hellwood kick off? Like, I would love for them to see.
January 5th.
Okay.
Yeah.
For them to see some of the stuff that you like, the really cool stuff that you've built, you know, that you've been part of. Like,
Yeah.
that would make it even more special.
Well, they are flying in the day that we are going to record our last episode.
Yep.
And I have not told my brother about it yet, but I'm almost positive that he will not come to see that because there's going to be too much going on. But we'll see.
He definitely wants to see you in a wig and a cape. So
He definitely does not. Mm-mm.
You've changed.
Yeah. Dude, I'm not coming out here anymore.
Yeah,
Why are you
right,
dressed
exactly,
like that?
yeah.
Anyways, no, that's awesome. And it's very unlike you to share, not necessarily, but that was like an emotional, very sweet thing. And I almost said that you don't really do that, but now I'm thinking about it. And for Fired Up, you've had like Nora riding her bike, and like you have had
Mhm.
really sweet
He
family moments.
Does have emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited to meet your brother because I have gotten to know you so well. Like, to me, you are like one of my brothers, but I don't know your actual brother. So, and I have a deep connection with my sibling. So I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see another person that, oh, yo, that face he just made looks like Ryan.
Mhm.
I can't wait to see that type of stuff.
There's a lot of that.
He rolls his eyes just like Ryan.
Yeah. Like, oh my God, Ryan's people.
Yeah. I'm embarrassed to say that I don't know my brother as well as I would like to because I don't live there and I
Right.
only see him once every year or two, but I think it'll be cool. He's
It'll be
enough
rad.
like us and like me that it's going to be great. So, yeah.
I'm looking forward to that too.
Yeah, I don't have a Fired Up, but I do now because I am so fired up to meet your brother,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm fired up for you. It's going to be great.
Mm-hmm. No
If
pressure.
are you serious? You don't have
Yeah, I
something
don't,
to-
yeah.
Well, then I'm fired up about.
Hey, Alex.
Thank you.
Yeah, buddy. What are you fired up about?
I am just fired up for the holidays. I've gotten into the
Wow.
Christmas spirit.
So glad I
Good.
asked.
Wow, good one.
I have gotten into the holidays more recently.
Yeah.
They are
Can you say it
coming.
with a little bit of enthusiasm over there?
I'll do you one better than saying, and I'll show you.
Oh, I thought you were going to
Zip.
I
I
thought you were
brought
going to
gifts
sing.
for everybody.
No! What?
No way. Santa?
God, now I feel like a piece of shit for making fun of him.
Yeah.
I don't.
They
You
are,
little jerk.
they are very, very small things, but I've just been enjoying.
What is it with you guys? Leave me alone.
I've just been enjoying
It's very average.
seeing all the lights and decorations, and Liz got me to put up our Christmas lights for the first time in the new house. So I've been watching all the Christmas movies, and I told you guys before we started recording, like just sitting around with my fireplace and the Christmas tree, and just soaking up Christmas vibes. And it's better to give than receive. So I've been getting little gifts for people, just little
Aw.
things.
Dog.
No one talk about the wrapping. That is not allowed.
Oh, that
I'm
is
convinced
that is what we are focusing
Women
on.
are
Yeah.
born knowing how to wrap gifts, and men will go their entire lives and never get it right.
Yeah.
At least I won't.
Every time I've done it, it's been different than the last time I did.
Jason,
Okay.
Fanny,
It looks
Wow,
fine.
who wrapped this? Jesus.
Yeah,
Christ.
my God.
You did a fine
Packing
job.
tape?
Sean, Sheila,
A lot of tape.
and it's packing tape, so
This is
it
a
could be
great
tough.
job.
It could be tough to get in there.
Very
And
good job.
there's an
It is
extra.
packing tape.
There's an extra gift over here because I'll explain in a second.
Before
Go
we
ahead.
do this, what is your family's tradition on opening gifts? Like, what is the order with which it happens? Is it chaos? Is it controlled? Is there order?
It's
What happens?
controlled.
Yeah.
Usually, for all the years, it was my dad, and now the older we've gotten, it's either me or Nick. We'll be like at the tree and handing
Playing
out gifts.
Santa,
Yeah,
quote unquote,
just
right?
giving
Yeah.
out gifts one at a time. Like this
Right.
one's for mom, and then everybody watches that person open their gift, and then
Oh,
the next
wow.
one.
Oh, yeah.
It's a long morning.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Good
for
job.
That's
sure.
like
what
that.
we I don't want it to be over instantly.
Yeah,
we want,
yeah.
you know.
You want
so.
to savor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
And then just last year, Liz and I, having a house, wanted to start hosting. So we started actually on Christmas Day, everybody stays at home and do your own Christmas.
Mm.
And then on New Year's Day, when things are less hectic, we get together and we do like a white elephant type thing. So everybody buys one gift, $50, and then we get you can steal a gift from people. And
That's great.
very simple, very fun.
Fun, dude.
Yeah. So
Nice.
Like
new
that.
tradition.
So what's going to be today? Is today chaos? Are we just 1, 2, 3, go?
Oh
and we all
yeah,
open?
everybody do it at the same time. Actually, we don't need to drag this out.
All right. On 3,
Just
so
go.
you got to count us off here.
1, 2, 3.
Let's
Open
go.
them shits.
Open them shits.
And then shits.
Be confident. I love it.
Nice.
Oh, the gang
Run
signs.
them
Yeah.
jewels.
Oh,
I love
It's
that.
got dinosaurs, guys.
Bodacious
Let me see.
period.
Oh,
Yes.
you
I
are
don't know why
gonna
that
wear
one spoke to me.
Oh, yeah.
every single
this is
day.
great. Be confident.
Oh,
Never-ending
be
story.
confident. Perfect.
Very good.
Hell yeah.
Say my, I don't know it.
Don't know it.
What's yours, right?
Oh, nice.
Thank you.
That is what
You're
she
very
said.
Hey guys, Jason here. Just in case it wasn't obvious, Alex got us all t-shirts with funny sayings on them. I just wanted to clarify since it wasn't clear that that's what he got us. We were very appreciative and loved getting the gift from him. Anyway, back to the show.
And
Yeah.
I actually put this in the cart first and then decided I wanted to get you something different. I didn't realize it never came out of the cart. So you have 2 shirts.
Oh.
Oh, Jason.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And let it be known that, like I said, I decided that this was not as cool. I found something I liked better. So
Better.
this
Yeah.
is less. Oh, we'll
Don't
see.
qualify it.
Yeah,
Don't
Let
qualify
me be
it.
the judge.
Yeah, you be the judge.
It's got a QR code.
And just
Got a QR
describe
code
what
on it.
describe
Yeah.
what we're seeing.
Okay. It is a black t-shirt, and where the pocket would be on the front, there's a QR code.
Why don't you scan that QR code?
Okay.
And I'll ruin the surprise now
Interactive.
that it is not the dong dude though.
Okay,
That-
I
God,
seriously
I
thought,
ripped for it.
immediately
It should
I
be,
thought
yeah.
that was going to be
of
done.
course it should be that.
Immediately.
Right.
Of course
Yeah.
it should be that.
Okay, it is pulling up a YouTube video that I'm getting an ad for Floor and Decor, unfortunately, first.
Gotcha.
And then no, Floor and Decor ad.
Just infinite ads.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
Oh.
Of course that's what it is.
Rickrolled.
Yeah.
Nice.
Very nice.
It reminds me of when we went to Bag of Tricks Entertainment and the theme that tied all the questions together was never gonna give you up.
That's right. We did that.
That is
for
a
round fantastic
3 trivia shirt that you
Yes.
should utilize.
Oh,
Often.
absolutely. I'm going to wear this all the time. And
Yeah.
people are going to ask, and then I'm going to say,
Do
well, scan it, and then
Yeah.
you'll find out.
And then you'll
There you
walk
go.
away, and then they're just like, oh,
Son of
I
Nice.
happen to like
Awesome.
that song.
got him.
both my shirts are great. Thank you so much.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thanks,
thank you,
dude.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Love it.
I
Heck
love
yeah.
you
This
guys.
is officially
Love you too, dog.
my first Christmas gift of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it is. Good job.
Let's go. So yeah, I'm fired
And
up
your
for
name
the
starts
holidays.
with A, so that means tomorrow's gift is going to come from somebody whose name starts with B.
That's how it works.
That's how Advent
That's
calendars
how
work,
that
right?
works.
I've never gotten one. I'm not sure. I'm just assuming.
Who
You know what? Move along. I don't know
Who's
what
the
I'm
B
talking about
name
anymore.
that's going to give you a gift? First name that comes to mind. Disc golf community. Go.
Bielphus.
Wow.
I thought Bill
Wow.
Bedonato.
I ain't
And then
seen
he
that
gets to be
motherfucker
C
in
as well.
years.
Yeah,
because he's Clayton
and then you
Biel.
see, yeah,
Yeah.
right.
He gives us a 2-parter.
That's my fired up. I'm excited for Christmas.
Aw.
And I'm just grateful I get to do this with you guys. Love you guys.
Mm.
Oh,
Damn, dog. Be calm.
Ryan's making
crying.
a face of disgust.
Calm.
He's doing that to cover up the tears.
It's coming. Yep.
I'm trying to talk, but my throat's so tight right now.
All right, I think that is a wrap on Fired Up.
Been chopping onions.
And Sean, why don't you take us into the Callahallander Rundown?
Yes, sir. The Callahallander Rundown. Last time we did December to Remember. This is December to Remember 2.0.
There's never been a better time to buy or lease a new Lexus.
Merry Christmas, baby.
Are you kidding me, Nathan? Did you seriously buy a car without asking me?
Well, because for Christmas.
This is a major purchase.
Right? But it was a December to remember.
It's a Lexus. We don't have the money for this, Nathan.
No, seriously, I'm just going to talk about Hellwood Putting League Season 3. We talked about being fired up about the new logo that Ryan created this morning. Cannot wait for everybody to see that. Hellwood, let's get to it. We're back over at Hell's Gate Haunted House for the 3rd year in a row, starting the first Friday of January, running for 8 weeks until Friday, February 23rd. Same format as the last few years. Keep an eye out for the Hellwood pre-registration. That'll be going live on Friday, December 29th at 7 p.m. on discgolfscene.com.
What is the pre-registration if they've never heard of it?
So you get to pay for the entire 8-week league without having to pre-register every single Friday night leading to the following week's league.
Why does
It gets
that matter?
it gets you locked in, and you get to save money. You save, I think, like $20 overall between disc golf scene fees between the 8 weeks. So you get into that pre, and you're covered for the entire league. And I love calling it the
That
pre-pre.
way it doesn't-
Do you love
I hate
pre-pre?
it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I
Oh, it's the best.
surprisingly like pre-pre.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Not only
Jason
does it
would
save,
love it.
Yeah.
He
not only
does.
does it save money, it's also the peace of mind because
Yeah,
it
if
sells out.
Yeah.
It sells out. There's only 120 total spots each league night for the pre. There's only 50 spots, and those have historically filled. So 50 people get in on that, and then there's only 70 spots each week because of the 120 total. So definitely look out for that. December 29th, 7 p.m. We will be posting on socials and reminding you guys to get in on that pre.
And gals.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but that's it.
And ghouls.
And ghouls.
Oh.
Nice.
Yeah, that's all I got for the Callahalander rundown. All of this
all I need.
unofficially brought to you by
DiscGolfScene.com.
Come on, Pete.
Come on.
Come on, Pete.
Come on, Pete.
Jason always hangs on just a little longer than everybody else.
Yeah,
It's
for
so
sure.
funny.
I want people to remember that I'm still here.
Yeah.
A la Michael Scott singing Happy Birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To you. Before we take our break, I just want to summarize your Callahalander. Is you're saying if you plan on coming to Hellwood, they should pre-come to Hellwood, is what you're saying.
Now you hate it.
Oh, I hate it.
All right, after these messages, we'll be right back.
Hey, Disc Golf family, it's Andrew Weary with Redemption Disposal and Recycling. If you need a dumpster, we are your go-to local contact. Are you getting a new roof, remodeling your house, or doing some landscaping? Maybe you're just looking to get rid of the old junk to make room for your new hyzer racks and disc golf gear. Redemption Disposal's standard-sized dumpsters are large enough for most jobs. The 15-yard dump trailers are on regular tires and hauled by standard pickup trucks, helping avoid any damage to surfaces, allowing for tight maneuvering, and the compact style helps minimize any inconvenience to homeowners. Our convenient and speedy service is unmatched, all at a competitive price. You can find us on Facebook at Redemption Disposal or email admin@redemptiondisposal.com. We look forward to helping you out with your future projects, but until then, we'll see you out on the course.
And we're back from the break.
Mm-hmm.
And that means it's time for
Wait, not quite. I, believe it or not, had another quick fired up that I forgot about, and I wanted to mention it. You just heard his voice mere seconds ago, but Mr. Andrew Weary at Redemption Disposal and Recycling hooked us up. And I just wanted to say thanks again for all of that. It was fantastic. He dropped a dumpster off. We were able to throw a ton of debris away from the shed that I was done with, and the previous owners of our home had left a ton of stuff that we never wanted, but it was too big to try and throw out every week with the trash and
armoire.
Right. Yeah. A giant armoire in the garage. And once the dumpster was in the driveway, a lot of things that were not going to be trash all of a sudden were considered to be trash. And
Did
it
you
was great.
sneak like any of Nora's old toys? Anything?
No,
like that?
but I really considered it. But we had just done a small purge just before that, so we didn't really need to. But we got rid of a ton of stuff. The neighbors had just redone their whole master bathroom, and so there was a ton of stuff in their garage that they were able to throw away too. So we were able to let them throw some stuff away. But what I wanted to talk about was the fact that he hooked us up, and he gave us a great deal on the dumpster, but he was so incredibly professional and everything was so exactly on time and perfect, even though we're friends and, it didn't necessarily have to be a professional relationship to do this. He sent emails with exactly what time he was dropping it off. He messaged me personally to say, this is what's going to happen. Here's all the details. He was there to the minute, exactly on time, made it exactly what we needed to, right where I wanted it. And then he messaged me yesterday and said, hey, I just wanted to check up and see how everything was going. And I said, you know what? We're actually done. I was going to message you. And he's like, perfect. We'll be there first thing. And the kid was there at 9:00 on the dot to pick it up. And I got an email about that too. Like every single aspect of that couldn't have been easier for me. So they're doing a great job. He could have just dropped it off and been like, whatever, whenever, and it was definitely not that way.
Very matter of fact. I love the way that he handles his
so
business.
much.
Yep.
So I was super appreciative of that. And it sounds stupid, but it was such a delight to have that dumpster and have it exactly the way it should have been so that we could get rid of everything and then have it leave as soon as we were done. It was great. So I just want to say thanks again to Andrew Weary at Redemption, Disposal, and Recycling because it was awesome.
I'll echo the same thing you guys are saying about the way he communicates and how he's buttoned up. He is one of the few people that filled out a form I put out recently saying I want to do some brand videos for people who have small businesses. And he filled out the form with such clear, like concise ideas of what he wanted to do, and then all of our communication back and forth has been just it's very evident that he's organized and he's very deliberate in what he does, and he says what he's going to do, he does what he says, those are the two things you want when you're doing business with somebody. He's fantastic. All right, that means it's time, Jason, for us to hand the reins over to you so we can start recapping this season.
You reach over the table and reach there. Okay.
Do you want him to reach around? Is that what you said?
No.
Oh, okay.
I just want him to hand me the reins. For Christ's sake, what are we doing here, people?
No reach arounds. Okay, go ahead.
No reach arounds. Reach across. So in the past, we've spent 3 minutes per episode talking about each episode that we did. But because we snuck a few extra in here this season, we're going to trim it down to 2 minutes. So I will give a one line that Sheila has provided for each episode. Then I'll read the synopsis, and you're going to be timed, and you guys will have 2 minutes to discuss whatever you want to, whatever comes to mind, whatever doesn't come to mind. If you remember something, Alex, that Sean doesn't, vice versa, let's talk about that. Let's have a lot of fun recapping what we've done in 2023 so far. I'm ready. You guys ready?
So ready, dog.
I'm ready, but I want to just understand my co-hosts' level of like how fresh you guys are. Ryan, you already said that you like the season has been like a blur.
No. Once I edit the podcast, I really don't want to listen back to it. And I've listened to them since, but it's been a while.
You did a little bit of refreshing.
I did a little bit of refreshing over the last couple days. And the other thing about when I listen to the episode around the time that we record that episode, I am usually doing it pre all of the things that you add. So right. I only listen to the rough cut. Very rarely am I going back on Spotify and listening to the polished, finished product.
Sure.
So that was nice to do this time around, and is always nice to do anytime we do the recap, because there's things that I'm like, oh, I didn't even know that was there because I never heard it until, and it's been 6 months, 7 months.
That's how this season has been for me too. Is I just listen to when Ryan sends us the rough edit so we can see if there's any like contributions we can make with drops or whatever. And then once it's on Spotify, I don't feel like I have the time I used to. I used to listen to the show so much, like an embarrassing amount. But now I just that first listen through and let's see what happens.
Let her rip.
We're going to start with episode 1, and it is titled You Gotta Believe. The guys are back, baby, sluggishly crawling out from their hibernating status. They decided to get started on a new season. At their home, in the ever-improving cab, where we still are today.
Nice.
Things get rolling quickly as they tackle a topic disc golfers annually deliberate, renewing their PDGA memberships. What do you get for your money? What happens when you don't renew? Is the PDGA doing enough, and what could we see they do to sweeten the pot? They also give some details on some new, but certainly not widely known PDGA rules and regulations. They also much talk about artificial intelligence and how easy it will become to create content like this podcast. Wait, no. Meanwhile, and that's literally written on here.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Sean wants to start peddling night lights, and Alex still has his scars from a 7 p.m. bedtime. Ryan is fed up with his misinterpretation of Groundhog Day, and Jason wants to tell us about, you're going to need to sit down for this one, the greatest show of all time.
Yeah.
What was the show that time?
Discuss.
Who knows?
The Last of Us.
Going.
Oh, The Last of Us.
Oh boy, only
Flavor
two.
of the day.
Yeah.
And then that conversation led to a conversation about AI, and we went on to that for a long time.
There was a couple of episodes in the beginning of the season where Alex was bringing that up quite a bit.
I almost brought it up today.
Yeah. And I remember being like, come on, shut up, like stop supporting that because I hate it so much.
Yeah.
But we definitely spent some time talking about AI. But one of the notes that I made from this episode, and this was unique to this season, was the fact that Max was here with us. And that was the first time that he was here with us.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
I remember not immediately, it wasn't making fun, but it was very much the way that we would have included him is how we tackled it, instead of making it weird like, oh, there's just another dude in the room.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember his spirits going from like, I don't know if I should be here to, oh man, 11 out of 10, I want to be here so bad. And I loved that we kept doing that with him all the way through the front half of the season. It was great.
Yeah, no, that was you. I think you really, you made the comment about baby, like playing on the swings or like, the baby brother.
Anytime that I could include him in the conversation or make a joke and make eye contact and get him riled up, like I took that opportunity. And I miss doing that.
I know he misses coming. When he moved out of my place, he was like, "Hey, can I still come to the show?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course." But it's just harder to coordinate now. But no, that's I can't believe how long ago that was. The thing I really remember about that episode was feeling like a jerk because I felt like the PDJ membership was not something needed. It was more money than it needed to be. And by the end of the conversation, I definitely changed my opinion. Like, there's way more to it than I had thought.
Yeah.
And for the record, we released that episode on February 17th. So that's how long ago it was.
Damn.
We recorded it right at the beginning of February, and it came out February 17th.
Oh, that's why I had a problem with
10
Groundhog
months
Day.
ago.
That's right.
Let's move on to episode number 2.
It's a quick 2 minutes. Those 2 minutes
it's
fly
go
by,
by
boy.
fast. Yeah.
Whoever's talking when the buzzer goes,
You
should be able to finish your sentence.
Yeah, I'm going to let you finish your sentence, but that's it.
I'm going to let you finish.
But Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time.
Yeah. I'm going to let you finish. So episode 2, the Bearded One returns with Dane of Vici was here with us. We released this one March 3rd of this year. The guys bring in returning guest, first guest of the season, friend of the show, and birthday boy. We recorded that on his birthday, if you recall. Dane of Vici to get into some of the most interesting and controversial issues in disc golf history. They talk the real talk about Simon Lizotte leaving Discmania and hear from Dana a bit of what it was like from the inside. They also outline the rapidly evolving Gannon Burr versus Prodigy lawsuit and what it might mean for disc golfing going forward. Dana brings everyone up to speed on the new exciting Discmania S-Line releases, and they even take a walk down memory lane as they bring up Dana's former sponsor, Vibram, and their resurgence into the game. Alex refers to himself as Hot Dog Fingers for a good portion of the episode. Sean is excited about some new Swingers show on Netflix. Ryan is jealous of Dana's pellet grill. And Jason finds a new silent way to eat potato chips. Discuss.
That was a funny
Hot Dog
bit.
Fingers was the best purchase in 2023.
I can't believe he wore them for that long.
Dana had him on the whole episode, and you kept referring to it the whole time because he was trying to be super serious. And I remember sitting here looking at him and being like, has he forgotten that he's still got him on? Because it's hard to take him serious. One of my biggest takeaways was not so much the conversation, but the fact that Dana Vici himself, that was his birthday, that he was here recording with us, and he was stoked to be here, as he always is. That's another level of special in my book when you take that kind of special time to enjoy with us. Like, I just thought that was the coolest.
Yeah, the timing with Simon leaving Discmania and him being here, I mean, we couldn't have gotten much better content with the timing that we had. I mean, his insights into that, with what he could say, was invaluable. Like, we would never have, you can't peek behind the curtain like he could.
Yeah, so, we like quite literally had our finger on that pulse of that situation.
Our hot dog finger.
Yeah, our hot dog finger.
Hot dog finger
on the hot dog pulse.
On the buns of that. Yeah.
The Gannon situation, I don't even know. How did that resolve?
Well, it is about to be played out, I would say, in the next
Is he still with Prodigy?
Weeks. He's still with Prodigy through the end of the year. So the contract is up at obviously the end of 2023. So everybody's anticipating some major moves, and we'll see. I've said that I think as much as I'd like to see him go to Discmania, I think it would also be as crazy for him to stay. And I can't wait to see how this plays out.
Oh man, if he stayed, that'd
be wild. It would be as wild as him going to,
yeah, right. Yeah, right.
So
I hadn't even considered that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
And time.
It is time to move on to episode 3. It is.
Hang on, let the bag shuffling stop.
Shuffle that bag.
Let the record show it wasn't me doing it.
Sheila made leg lamp cookies.
The fishnet icing on those?
It's so Sheila.
It's a major award.
Does it taste like either fish or nuts?
No, it's delicious, but just like the level of detail, it's just very.
Hey guys, Jason here again. Just in case you missed it when Sean talked over Ryan, Sheila made us all holiday cookies in the shape of the leg lamp from A Christmas Story. They were delicious, and we were very appreciative of those. Anyway, back to the show.
Did you make these?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Sean helped with the icing.
The glow of electric sex.
Yeah.
Must be Italian.
so good.
Fragile.
Oh, wow.
Overcome by art.
I know just the place for it. Right in the middle of our front room window.
All right. It is time to talk about season 4, episode 3.
I don't remember this one.
I barely remember it, but let's see if we can pull something out of the cobwebs. This episode was called Delwood and Dragons Part 1. We released it March 17th. The UD universe, as we know it, has been thrown into chaos as Jason and the Deucer turn the normal format on its head. Unbeknownst to the rest of the crew, and in only 4 days' time, devised what can only be described as the greatest tabletop game of all time, complete with color-coordinated dice, custom-printed playing cards and sleeves, as well as a table full of snacks and a full case of Mountain Dew Code Red. No effort was spared and no detail was left behind. The game was a mystery and unfolded before Sean, Ryan, and Alex as they set out on their journey playing a round of disc golf at the canyons. They faced many an obstacle and encountered many Delwood characters, some well-known, some soon-to-be-known, and all unforgettable. Can we just take a moment to talk about how great this description is?
You're welcome.
Yeah, you are. Oh my God, I kiss you on your lips. Follow along as this tenacious triumvirate navigates their way through. I can kiss you on the lips again. Navigates their way through what is sure to be the adventure of a lifetime, or at least a good few Thursdays worth. Discuss.
So normally, when I am done editing this podcast and putting all the drops in and all of the effects, there are probably on average around 20 or 21 separate tracks, I would say.
Okay.
Sometimes less, sometimes a little more. When I got done editing this episode, there were over 65 tracks of audio.
Really?
It was, and every 5 seconds there was something more to add.
Yeah.
And it was unbelievable. It was so easy in one aspect to just like, oh, you just said this came out of the woods. Well, now I gotta come up. What does a gelatinous boob sound like? Right? So it was so fun to be like the Foley artist, and come up with the sound effects. But also, like, after a while, I would have to I gotta stop.
Yeah.
This could go on forever. So it was fun for me to do that. If only that, it was awesome. Not to speak of actually playing the game.
I've never been blindsided more by something so unexpectedly awesome in the show's history, and I don't think ever will be again. I'll save time for the next.
I just remember that episode and recording it in the moment, like Alex was saying, the feeling that we all had, I think, was the fact that it was going to be different after that episode. The possibilities of what we could do when we record are going to be different now. And I can't wait what we do for Delwood and Dragons Part 3. I can't wait to see what you guys have in store. I think it's going to be as insane as it was for 1 and 2.
We haven't even started planning yet.
Sure.
That's a lie.
Yeah.
Liar.
I've been kind of slowly pacing this third one.
Liar.
But
as in we
and
haven't done anything.
I think that we have gone down further that road of doing follow-up episodes of this game and then traveling and really kind of being more experimental with what the show can be.
Well
Nice.
said.
I know we're on a time limit, but put a minute on there and let's Sheila and I just discuss for 1 minute what happened behind the scenes that led to that. So it started with I wanted to do an episode, a draft episode, and I wanted to do the in the bag draft. And I called Sheila and was like, I have this idea for a draft episode. I think it'd be fun, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, it's fun, but it's half an idea. Like, what's the other half?
And I don't even know who came up with the Delwood and Dragons idea. Like, well, I guess we wanted to make it more interactive.
It was kind of in real time. Like we just started bouncing ideas and it was like, oh, and then this, oh, and this. And then like before we knew it, it was all there before us. And the best part for me was during the break of that episode when we all went outside and you guys were like, no, seriously, this is the coolest shit ever.
Yeah.
Because in my head, I was like,
it was a huge risk.
Oh my God.
I mean,
like still.
Yeah.
I'm like, are we really going to do this a third time? Yeah.
It was a risk. And when you first laid it out to what we were going to do, I was like, all right, we'll see.
Yeah.
Like, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
And very quickly I was like, oh my God.
The level of detail with the cards and the way, the physical part of it, the dice, the color coded stuff.
It couldn't have failed at that point.
Yeah. You brought it to a level that it couldn't have failed. It was so epic.
This ended. I don't know why it didn't go off.
That's okay. All right. Let's talk about our next episode then. It was season 4, episode 4. We called that episode Destination Penetration.
What did you say the other day in the group chat when we were talking about
Destinico
Penacastro? Oh, that was so good. I thought that was I laughed really hard out loud at that.
That's good. So we released that episode on March 31st, and the description goes as, after an unexpected but riveting adventure of a lifetime, the guys come back to reality for a more traditional episode. They talk destination courses, and the Deucer set them up with a Sweet 16 style bracket with the top 3 courses in the world, complete with UDisc stats, landmarks, and local attractions. The guys had to work their way through to see which course comes out on top. They also get into local course stats, thanks again to UDisc, and reveal some surprising and encouraging numbers. Sean is excited to have to remember how to play disc golf again. Alex can't wait to tell the world how humble he is. Ryan received plans to build an upscale Las Vegas hotel casino, and Jason might have to resort to eating insects. Discuss.
Around this time, I think I probably started to really appreciate how the show had changed in the best way when Sheila really started to produce. Like, obviously that happened with Delwood and Dragons, and it happened with previous episodes in previous ways, but when you started to pull up the TV screen showing us images of what we were doing, and like that whole concept wouldn't have worked if I couldn't see photos of what we were doing, and like getting talked through like what is there to do in these towns,
forcing us to think about the possibilities of the game within the game, within the show.
Yes.
Completely. Again, going back to the fact that my listens are usually the rough cut, the addition of the game show music during Jason's explanations was my chef's kiss to this episode. Like, perfect.
Yeah.
Absolutely perfect.
And the level of detail, well, like, it's only there when I'm talking. If somebody interrupts me, he cuts it out.
And he
brings it back,
brings it back on as soon as you start. Oh,
that's the good stuff, man.
That's my favorite little tiny bits that I don't know what percentage of listeners will not notice that.
Right.
But those that do will really get a kick out of it, I hope. And that's what I'm going for.
I would say if you're a listener of this show and you don't notice or appreciate that, go listen to any other disc golf podcast, because literally there's not another one that exists today that has the level of consideration with the editing and the effects and the experience as a listener. Majority is just like people talking into a mic with no production. At best, aside from that, you get like clean sounding audio.
All right, we only got 10 seconds left to talk about it, and this was the episode where you had just played and killed the weekend before?
No,
week before?
No, this was when I played. I thought this was right after Highland.
That was the player experience episode, I thought.
Yeah, player experience. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yep.
Okay, because I know you're right. It is a different episode. Okay, that's it.
Good way to use the last 10 seconds.
Yeah. Do you want to add a minute and keep talking?
Yeah, it was good. It was good. It was good.
Cool. Okay.
Do the same thing that you did give us an extra minute for Sheila's like input, because you're the one who put that. You two again collaborated to put that together, right?
Yeah, I think that's kind of
sure if you want.
I'll allow it again.
Yeah. Okay. That was mostly Sheila. I called her and I said I wanted to do the bracket again.
Yeah, the bracket. Like last season, you did the
Merch Madness.
Right. And I was like, well, it's all the same merch. We don't want to do that again. Let's do the same style, but make it destination courses, because we're a destination course, and like let's start thinking about other spots. And that's just kind of where it went. And that's a glimpse into like, if you talk about vacation with me, be careful, because I will plan it. And that's what I did.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
I love how that evolved, because we had not agreed that we were going to take a trip.
It was as we were doing this that we were like, oh God, it's going to have to culminate to something.
Yeah.
And we're all going to have to go to Puyo Kyopyo.
Yes.
And I'll be honest, us doing that, probably one of my favorite memories of 2023. That was super duper fun.
The episode of the trip.
The trip.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, we're going to
get into it.
Yeah, we're going to get there.
Don't you worry. But before we get there, we got to talk about season 4, episode 5. It was released April 7th, and this one is called Delwood and Dragons, Part 2. The wait is over, nerds. The guys bring the immediately hyped disc golf RPG back to Callahan Acres for the conclusion or was it, of the first ever playthrough. Gandalf the Jay and the Deucer had oh so much more in store as the back nine lay before them. Peril and fortune lay behind every tree and under every rock on their path. Who will reign victorious? Strap in, grab a case of Mountain Dew Code Red, and listen in to find out.
Who writes these?
So good.
They are.
I'm going to start this one off.
Please. Go.
Because it was so much fun in the first episode, and we burned through so many cards and like ideas that I was like, we need to have more. And we wrote in stuff that we never even got to because you guys were like, no, I'm going to keep my discs and I'm going to, you guys held strong. And I was like, shit, there's so many other things that we wanted to happen that didn't happen. And I think you can hear the frustration in my voice in that episode.
Oh yeah, totally.
And I'm like, okay, this isn't their fault. This is my fault. We need to write this better. We need to do this better. And I feel like that's why I'm looking forward to part 3, but also not looking forward to it because it's a battle in my own head on how to make it entertaining.
Well, on the first hole, I lost my entire bag, which was forcing forcing me to do exactly what you're describing.
Yes.
Which was perfect.
Yeah.
Right. I love that you guys wrote that in. That was
We
great.
knew we needed to shake it up after the first one. That was one of the first things I was like, well, someone's going to lose their entire bag and then they'll be forced to use different discs and what have you.
One of my biggest takeaways, and I think this is also hitting on the point of where the show can go and where it's already gone, is the fact that Brian Earhart got involved and sent us the soundbite to be a part of the back nine.
Sure.
And I wish that we could get more people to do that. If you're fans of the show and you hear this, when we tell you to do it, please do it, because that was one of my favorite takeaways.
Totally.
Just dressing up for it.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
Ryan's wig.
You guys didn't return any of that shit, right? You all still have your.
I know where the wig is. I don't know where the robe is.
I think I have it.
Yeah, we've got all that stuff together because I
Yeah.
kept it all together.
Yeah.
I just made a big donation pile of stuff and I came across all that and I was like, no, this stays here. This will be used again soon.
Nice.
Which is part of the reason I don't know if I want my brother here. You nerd.
That wig just makes no sense, and I love it so much. Why is it
the red wig?
Yeah, why is
It's
it
the only red one I could find.
So good.
But why would any Middle Earth or
it fit.
Yeah,
It was perfectly Ryan.
Because it's red.
Yeah.
Because it goes to 11. You don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to explain it to you. Yeah.
11, exactly. One louder.
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
Speaking of explanations, let's talk about season 4, episode 6. Getting disc golf into schools. We released this one on April 21st. The guys have transported back from the lands of fantasy. They have returned to the cab, joined by guests Patrick Haker and Jason Allen, teachers that have started and successfully sustained disc golf clubs in their respective local schools. They offer up their knowledge and experience in what it takes to get disc golf into students' hands. Startup costs, bureaucracy, travel, and time are all discussed. Patrick and Jason also talk mushrooms, cell phones, or lack of cell phones, and they join the guys for their second round of destination penetration.
Yeah,
Sean is excited about Callahan Acres projects, while Alex reminisces about the repercussions of passing notes in class. Ryan takes a ride on the nostalgic movie train, and Jason has suddenly become interested and aroused by the Civil War. Discuss. What? I do not remember that.
Wow, I cannot tell you any of that. I don't remember any of it. The episode itself was great. Patrick, he's generally well-spoken, but kind of a nervous energy.
Yeah, a little bit.
And I think it was great to see him on the hot seat because he started to get into it at the end and open up a little bit more. And I think he had a great time. Jason Allen was always
natural.
Just
absolute natural.
Couldn't be any more comfortable.
At everything.
Yep. For somebody that doesn't enjoy that much technology in his life. To be in this setting, it was...
Yeah. I mean, you could tell both of them had passion for the subject, and so it started to come very easily for them to speak about what they were doing.
The big piece of advice that sticks out to me from this episode was when Jason talked about contacting athletic directors if you wanted to try to get into a school. That is a piece of information that if you're not a teacher, if you don't work at a school, you would never think that's the route I should go.
Right.
So that really stuck out to me. But I fell in love with Jason Allen on that episode, and then every time I saw him at a course after that, I was just like, hi.
Yeah, those two guys to me are part of a little group of dudes and they all know who they are. They always play leagues together, and they come out and I card them together. Like they are the adult versions of the guys that I would have shared a lunch table with in junior high.
Yeah.
So when I see that they are into the things that we do, whether it's DDG or UD, when they're into it, I know that we're on the right path.
Yeah. And Jason lately has been doing the whole stats for our leagues. He was like, if you're just going to throw those scorecards away, can I have them?
Oh, cool.
And he's been putting
It's fantastic.
all the stats together.
Oh.
Yeah. That's
And they
been
were
awesome.
like immediately on board for being part of Destination Penetration as well, because we included that.
Oh,
in-
super fun
and,
for them.
Yeah,
they
they're
were-
nerds for
Ooh,
that.
the
too.
too hot
The
for teacher.
crevices.
Yeah. Too hot for teacher reference. Too.
Yeah.
all the little.
So
I
good.
forgot about
that.
that.
Yeah.
Shit was so
funny.
good.
They were so good.
So good. All right, that was episode 6.
Oh, yeah.
All right, next episode that we did was season 4, episode 7. It was released May 5th, and we called it "The Stakes Are High" with David Cope.
That's right.
Very organic title, as I recall.
The guys bring in friend,
Grass-fed.
disc golfer, and cannabis connoisseur David Cope to the mic to get the latest with the Fox Valley Metro Disc Golf Club and to get serious about the role cannabis has and should play on and off the course. David has experience as a longtime professional bud tender and hosts a live YouTube show called Peace, Love, and Cope. He gives some invaluable insight and knowledge about the unfortunately stigmatized plant. They discuss some of the ways cannabis can and or should be used on the course, but also medically as a viable treatment and as a very powerful symptom of pain relief. David surprises everyone with some nuggets from shows past and proves that he has been keeping up on UD episodes. The guys also finished the Destination Penetration bracket, but things get very real with a twist. Sean geeks out about a different podcast. Alex doesn't really care what happens as long as he gets to go camping. Ryan will never trust another guest of this show, and Jason pulls back the curtain to his maniacal mind and forces the guys to play a game he just made up while sitting in traffic. Discuss.
Best episode of the season.
I thought it was fantastic. I mean, it's really funny. The first moment that Cope has to speak I don't even think we were into the meat and potatoes of it yet.
No.
And we were all just like,
Come on.
Yeah.
And not that we didn't expect him to be intelligent, but the way that he spoke about it was like, oh, this is super serious. It's not going to be really like ground.
It wasn't about intelligence. It was just about the perspective. Like he changed the way I thought about intoxication as a whole concept.
But not enough to not pass out.
No,
that's true.
No.
Only a few hours later.
Yeah, not even. I feel like I learned a lot. He changed the way I looked at a big aspect of humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he gave the biggest laugh and surprise of the season.
Yeah.
I really hope listeners took away from that what we had and second guessed what they had been doing or some of the habits that had been ingrained in them, and while they're playing and otherwise, because
the less is more.
That was such that
Big
hit so
takeaway.
hard. Yeah.
Yep.
I believe there's a mailbag question about how much to consume, and his answer
Casey
was
Glade.
Casey Glade. That's right,
Yeah.
and his answer was none. And I was like blown away by somebody who is so cannabis positive to recognize that it's not always the right time for it as well. I was like, this dude's on another level. I made a joke that I was falling in love with him on that episode, and it wasn't a joke. He's the best, man.
Also, real quick, we have to mention that he manifested his girlfriend on that episode.
I fully believe that.
The Jolene was epic, and then it's like the movie Mannequin.
Yeah.
She was not a real human before that.
Season 4, episode 8 was our next episode. We released it May 19th, and we called it Hey Ladies 4, Amy Laskowski Returns. The guys bring in one of the OG Season 1 guests and first lady guest, Amy Laskowski, to the cab.
Mm-hmm.
They talk all things ladies disc golf, events happening around the area and around the world. They also ask about changes in women's disc golf since Amy's first appearance on the show 3 years prior. Most importantly, they shout out a whole gang of local ladies that deserve to be recognized. Sean is moments away from getting canceled. Alex doesn't want a gusty breeze revealing his hot dog. Ryan may or may not have a giant hole. And Jason knows the difference between an alligator and a crocodile. Discuss.
I'll start that one. Why did all those sexual innuendos happen in the recap for the ladies episode? Huh?
Yeah, Jason.
Second.
Anybody else want to chime in?
We shouted out a bunch of ladies in our area that are doing awesome things, and we forgot to shout out Nora.
Baloo.
And we felt like shit.
That's not her name
So
anymore.
Nora. Reuter.
It was added.
Was it?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
added on the next episode.
No, I
was it
recorded something after that we plugged in.
Yeah, we plugged it in.
Oh.
Yeah.
Which
Okay.
was my chef's kiss. This episode specifically, but this season, when you guys break the fourth wall and do stuff like that, I think that was another level of like what the show can be. That it doesn't have to be what happened right now.
Yeah.
It can be something that happened later, like future
that's kind
Ryan.
of fun.
In one of the episodes, you had done a future Ryan thing that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And the other was
Yeah.
Jason breaking the fourth wall and doing the Nora Bellotti.
One of my favorite things about the show in general is the whoosh,
Yeah.
swipe.
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
very specifically, Jason saying, "Hey guys, Jason here."
Yeah.
And with that attitude, as if like, "Hey, I've got to correct some fuck up
I
that we
do
did."
remember
You know,
this
like
now,
that is so perfect. And like the way that he says it, I want to do it every time.
Yeah.
So
Hey guys, Jason here one more time. But this time there's no reason other than Ryan will appreciate it. And I don't appreciate you not appreciating it. Anyway, back to the show.
Getting back to the actual episode.
Yes.
What I want to say about Amy is I am also a feminist. However, she takes it to a whole new level, and the care that she puts into running these events is insane. She will call me and I will just be like, I don't care. I don't think anyone's going to care. But the details that she cares about to put in to make sure everybody is included, having a good time, it's like mind-boggling to me.
It's the little 1% that all
I don't
add
have
up.
the bandwidth to do that. She's a details person and I'm an overall person. So I think that's why we work well together, but she's on a different level for sure.
Nice.
I love her too.
Do you want an extra minute? Do you want to talk?
No,
You don't remember.
I don't remember. I don't remember anything else from that episode. I'm so glad you steered that part.
That's all right, because you will remember stuff from this next episode. It is season 4, episode 9, which was our last episode for the first half of the season. And for some reason, our hands down most listened to episode of this season.
yeah, we were just talking about that before
Like-
we started. Not sure why.
Double the amount of the next closest episode.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Something in the algorithm just clicked
Just
on that.
put
one.
it out there. Yep. We called it The Player Experience, and we released it June 2nd of this year. Reinvigorated by some hot rounds in a sanctioned tournament, Sean and Ryan lead the discussion about the player experience. Sean gets into reigniting the competition fire after being in the thick of things and taking down the old man division. Ryan touches on taking tournament play for granted and the player observations, good or bad, he noticed while competing. Reimagining the TD player balance and what will be done in the future to elevate the player experience are also discussed. Sean confesses to a short-lived Minecraft obsession, while Alex probably will never go to a concert again. Ryan builds a shed, and Jason gets a taste of his own trivia medicine. Discuss.
The vibes were very high. They were from the previous Sunday, so this was only just a couple of days after
Shanny
playing Smooth Series Shanny
Yep.
and me taking down that big dub. We brought that in, that experience, that time. Hopefully I get to live it again, but it was high vibes.
The story to me felt like a miniature version of Schlitz Creek. Like the triumph of it was like comparable. Obviously a very, very different thing, but the way you felt about it and the way you guys talked about it and the way the story was relayed to me felt like I had kind of watched a little miniature movie. The scene in my mind where Michelli says, "Clean it up." That's a scene in the movie from my mind.
Yeah, right. Right. Absolutely.
I think just the total package of playing, experiencing what we did, and especially what you did, and then having to run tournaments afterwards after we had experienced that and seen what we'd seen brings our total level up, a few notches, and it will continue to. And that's what I appreciate is being able to be back in the thick of it and then step back again, knowing what we had just seen and what we had experienced. So,
and that was 6 months ago, and we haven't competed for a little while. And it's now at this time of the year that I start that little tickle, like Jason has referred to it in the air, that I'm like, oh, I can't wait for spring because I want to get back out there and compete again. Like, listening back to that episode recently was like, ooh, I can't wait. I can't wait to get back out there.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun for me. This wasn't during the episode, but when you guys were playing that tournament, to look at live scores. We do that for hundreds of people in the events that we run. It was fun to specifically watch you guys.
I was sending links to my extended family so they could watch live scoring while we were competing, and they were interacting in the family group chat. It was awesome.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's great.
Let's discuss our next episode. It was season 4, episode 10.
3 months later.
3 months later. We released this one on September 8th, and we called it Spelv with Donnie Longton and Joe Ropo. Welcome to the Back Nine. The guys are back at it after 3 months of a crazy summer. They bring in long-time talked about friends Donnie Longton and Joe Ropo to discuss exactly what is so special about Sandy Point Disc Golf Ranch and Resort. Furthermore, they delve into the importance of having an annual trip like this with your friends and what it can mean for your mental health throughout the year. They go hard into the traditions and procedures that they have cultivated to make this trip so nerdy and special. Sean got a new cock. Alex tells the story of getting super punched as a kid. The deucer blows everyone's mind with a surprise offering. Ryan is still building the shed. And Jason has finally gone off the alien deep end. Discuss.
Very memorable. See, things are coming back now. This was only a couple months ago.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you remember how hot it was in the
It
basement?
was so hot in here.
Very hot in the basement.
What I remember about the episode is not specifically the recording, but what Sean was talking to me about the kids that were coming in and talking about the fact that they had listened to the episode and that they are going to now do that.
Joey and Steven, who went in October and had a blast, and I've recently caught up with them on their trip. It was phenomenal. Yes.
Perfect.
And they had like 8 dudes. Huge group of guys.
Wow.
Yep.
Goal achieved.
Absolutely.
As far
and
as
we
that
talk about
episode
that
is
in
concerned.
that episode because there were just so many full circle things around that episode. One thing that hit for me, a couple things real quick. One is how deep Donnie, who is a bit of a character and can be a jokester,
total character,
goes real deep in talking about how important our friendship is and how like the mental health awareness stuff around what he has to say really hit me deep in the heart in a fantastic way. And then also how much of a natural my brother Joe was on the mic, and that I loved that his sense of humor came through with his he'll be silent for 3 minutes and then he'll speak and it'll be the funniest thing you've heard in days. And that happens multiple times. Real quick, I wrote a couple of notes. He refers to Jason as Randy Quaid, if you're going to go back and listen to that episode, and it was hysterical. And then he makes fun of how many hobbies Donnie has, and he says, you want bread?
You want bread, bro?
You want bread, bro? And those little Joey bits are so good. I love that. I love that about the episode.
I want to add another minute on this one.
You need to talk about what you had done for us.
The offering.
Yes, the offering.
Yeah.
So
that was
a full
so
minute.
exciting. We talked about Brian Jordan Alvarez is the TikTok star, and we've been quoting him for a long time. But I was like, I'm gonna do this, and I ordered it in front of them at the Unstable Discourse Open, and nobody even knew about it. Typed everything up, paid for it, and I was like, this is going to be the best cameo ever. And it was worth it. It
to
came
date,
through.
I still can't believe that you had done it. I still watch it occasionally. I just pull it up and just laugh to myself because nobody else will. I mean, everybody can understand it, but nobody really gets how heavy that was.
Yes.
Man.
And that was literally on the cusp of that dude blowing up because it was like
the following week,
a week later,
sitting as the opposite of standing.
Yes. Like all of a sudden, everybody knew who he was.
Yeah.
Sirini dio posiro standim. Sirini dio posiro running around. And Sirini is a wonderful thing to do because you Sirim.
The timing was impeccable on it.
Yep. Yeah.
I love the video.
Yeah.
Sean's jaw just hanging.
Yes.
The whole time.
Yes.
And Joe calling me Randy Quaid is what inspired me to do the Independence Day intro.
Yeah.
I brought intros back for that episode.
God,
yes.
We're gonna peek behind the curtain very quickly about that. So Jason was over and we did the intro to that based on the speech that Bill Pullman does in Independence Day. And he recorded it and it was great. And we were going to put some stuff behind it and we listened and you can kind of hear the crowd in the actual scene. And so we're trying to pull up crowd noise and we're trying to pull this up and I'm like, we got to find some music that is patriotic, something like that. And we went through for a good long time, and nothing
It was like 30 minutes of like YouTube searches. Yeah.
Nothing was satisfying the itch, and it just wasn't working. And I was like, I wonder. And I typed in Independence Day soundtrack, and it was right there.
Yeah.
The actual score to the movie. And I just
that scene,
drag and dropped it. And we were like, oh my God. It was so why couldn't I have thought of that immediately? But the moment we plugged it in, we were like, oh, this is the coolest thing we've done in a long time.
Yep.
So.
This is it. Don't get scared now.
Yeah.
We're going to move on to an episode that's even more recent. Season 4, episode 11.
They get more recent from here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. They just continue to get more recent.
Oh,
Yeah.
A little
I
closer.
thought I had a little quip there. I was an idiot. We released it on September 22nd, and we called it Pressure from the Bottom with Eric Savoy and Kevin Derrick.
Mm-hmm.
On this episode, the guys bring in Disc Golf Chicago's own Eric Savoy and Kevin Derrick to discuss their role in bringing disc golf to the city. Their persistence with the park districts to be formally recognized as a viable and sustainable solution to preserving nature and allowing citygoers to enjoy green space is truly inspiring. They get into all the events and tournaments they have run and how they have turned into park district supported / funded programs for children's and adults alike. Also, they mention what is in store for the future of the community and the organization. Alex plans to film a wedding for his first time, while Sean's PTSD resurfaces as he's reminded of events past. Ryan can't get behind Mexico's aliens, and Jason can't even figure out how to say our guests' names. Discuss.
That episode meant a lot to me as one of the 3 main drivers. 4 as of today. I'm in the spotlight more than the other guys because we do the show and because I'm active on social media. And it meant a lot for me for other people to understand how much these other guys are doing and how honestly it's not me. I'm kind of just the guy that brought everyone together and I do my part, but really those 2 are the brains of the operation. So I was really glad to have you guys get to meet them and hear.
Yeah, I was just going to say that you're always excited about what's happening and we hear it from your perspective, but to see them be so excited and to nerd out over it as well, brought a whole new meaning to Disc Golf Chicago. So that was cool.
Hearing their names for years, it was great to finally put faces to the greatness that I'd heard about. So it was very cool to meet them.
And the amount of work that they have put in to make all of that happen. I think some people don't realize.
And we covered it a bunch. How disappointing it was that the city didn't take that presentation as serious.
Right.
And I think one of the biggest takeaways for me was that what the city of Chicago wanted more, and we talk about this in depth during the episode, is community involvement rather than focusing on dollars.
Of course.
And I thought that was a really cool point that was made during that episode.
I would never have put money on that being the case.
Right.
Yeah.
It's definitely the forest preserves more than the Parks District, which we will find out more. We're starting to develop relationships with the Parks District now as well. But it was the forest preserves that were like, we just want people in the parks, and it's ongoing. All the work is ongoing. They're still every day. I'm getting notifications from emails or Slack messages. Discord messages. Those dudes don't stop.
I need a couple more seconds. This was our 3rd episode of double guests. I cannot believe that we convinced Ryan to do that many times.
Yeah.
Never again.
Yeah.
And then I also made a note here that it would be interesting to see who would win in a doubles match. Eric Savoy and Kevin Derrick versus Patrick Haker and Jason Allen. We should make that happen.
Yes.
And then there was Donnie Longton and Joe Ropo, but then the next episode was also a double guest, so there was 4.
Yeah.
There was 4?
4 in a row.
But the Disc Golf Chicago one was extra stressful because there was potentially 3 people.
There was almost 3 people.
Yeah.
That I didn't know
What's
about
the
until
4th
that
one?
day.
I'm like losing it.
We'll get there.
We're just about to discuss it. So I think next season's bracket tournament should be
who would
past guests of the show.
Like, who's the best guest?
And then we got to break that down. Just putting that out there.
That could be fun.
We'll see. We got a lot of them.
That could be fun.
We'll see. But in the meantime,
I think we should make them play each other, though. So we choose who they, and then they play each other to see who.
Oh, who moves on
throughout the year?
If we need to create handicaps, we will. See, this is what I do. I need to stop.
Stop doing what you're doing.
All right, continue.
Season 4, episode 12. We released it on October 6th, and we called it Destination Penetrated, a.k.a. Isle Wilded, with Jason Curl and Adam Jones. They actually did it. The crew drove down to the Destination Penetration Course winner and world-famous Idlewild Disc Golf Course in Burlington, Kentucky. They spent 2 full days taking in the intense and incredible disc golf that the greater Cincinnati area has to offer, as well as consuming some of the area's finest chili. They stopped at the Natty, famed Midwest disc golf shop, and were able to convince owners Jason Curl and Adam Jones to sit with them for an impromptu episode. This is one of their best ever. Set up just outside the shop amongst the backdrop of Mount Airy's Hole 1, they step away from the formal format and get into all things Cincinnati disc golf, what it takes to keep things rolling in the area, relationships with parks in the city, and the trials and tribulations of being a TD past and present. Sean immediately makes 2 new best friends, while Alex can't wait to get back to the hotel hot tub. Ryan feels validated as a broke TD, and Jason is sore head to toe from diving into the deep end in his first ever official full round of disc golf.
Double black diamond.
This is going to be 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Everybody agree?
That's
good.
fair. That's fair.
I know I said it before, but this was the best episode of the season.
That trip almost didn't happen because we were all stressed
So many
and
times.
busy and like, I can't believe we're doing this and it's gonna rain. What are we doing? And
Well,
then
we
we
planned
just
to camp.
and yeah.
We
And
bought Sheila bought campsites. We planned to camp.
I bought a
we
new
all
tent.
Looked
Yeah.
at the weather and said, "Oh hell no!"
Yeah.
In the words of Mitch DePiro. And yeah, it almost just didn't happen at
And
all.
like, you guys are solo, so you have your own thoughts going on. But Sean and I are discussing to each other also, like, what are we gonna do? Anyways, we made it happen, and it turned out to be
You know why,
the
Sheila?
best.
Is because you said, "No, we're going."
Yes.
That is true.
Straight up.
Yes.
it was
I
like
was-
we
You
already
saved it.
we planned too much. We
I-
are going. I don't care.
I
what
will
else
say,
is happening.
because of those conversations that Sheila and I have that maybe we don't always discuss in the group chat that we have for the podcast, I was a big part of being a pain in the ass.
Correct.
I remember being very much a pain in the ass. And this episode changed the way that I felt about the show. I think since then, I have been less stressed about the show because of how much fun that episode brought to me personally and to all of us as a group. It made us a little bit tighter.
Well, we all needed it, but wouldn't admit it.
Yeah. And we had so much fun. I think that it brought us together as a group of people working together. We talked about that happening, and then it did. And the way I have viewed my time with you guys since then doing this has completely changed. It used to stress me out because I wanted it to be so good. Now I don't allow that energy into my thoughts so that it is just good organically.
Beautiful. The time we got to spend in the van driving down.
One of my favorite parts
Also,
of it.
something that was probably not going to happen because we wanted to drive separately, but then we convinced each other that no, we're all going to do this at the same time.
Yeah.
But the way that we showed up at the Natty and then started talking with Jason and Adam, and then we're like, you guys are cool, you want to be on a podcast? And then that happened in the best possible scenario, and I was like, no way.
Right.
This is not happening. We don't even know who they are. How are they going to be on the mic? Yeah. And yeah, Jason just kind of manifested it.
We were like, we gotta ask them if they
We were
will do
all-
the show.
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like,
we were all at the
have to
van.
ask them.
Yeah.
And you were like, nah, it's just not gonna happen. That's last minute. We can't just drop in on them. And Jason was like, I'm gonna go and ask them.
Yeah. Those are the times where I definitely have Sherry Ropo in me that it's just like, what am I doing right now? Of course, I'm just going to go talk to these guys and tell them what we're going to do, and it's going to be fine. Because that's how my mom is.
And you were also, you did a really good job on that episode. Not that you don't normally, but you asked a lot of questions from your perspective of not knowing. And I thought that was really great during that episode.
Not to mention playing a double black diamond course. As like
Playing
your
was
first
so
real
much
course
fun.
playthrough, which was
It was fun,
phenomenal.
though. I didn't think that was going to be the way that I was going to approach this. I thought I was definitely going to bunny slope disc golf, but I was like, okay, we're here. Let's do this.
Yeah.
It
turns
good
out it was the
because
best way.
At this stage, for as long as you've been not playing,
right,
you now see what it could, instead of it building up over the next like couple of years, which you might have played 3 or 4 more times. You got the taste of like what it's like, sort of at the nicest level.
Well, let me tell you, I have had several listeners of the show slide in the DMs and be like, bro, you play now? When are we getting out on the course? It didn't happen, obviously. So we'll wait till spring when weather's better. But
Have you been tempted to go play at all?
for sure. Yeah, for sure. The itch is there.
That's so
work's been
exciting.
busy.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely.
He's shown me the rash. It's definitely there.
Oh, yeah. All right. Our very next episode. So we can do this one of two ways. Either Alex has to be the only one to talk about this next episode, or turn off his mic right now. I'll let you decide. Season 4, episode 13 was called Nightmares on Disc Golf Street. We released it October 20th. The podcast was down a man as Alex is sick with COVID. The show must go on, however, so the Deucer steps in as the crew embraces the spookiest of seasons and discusses their own top 10 disc golf nightmares. They reveal a lesser-known real-life story about Dead Man's Cave, the now-defunct dam behind the canyon's hole 17 long tee pad. Also, Sheila has just recently returned from her trip with the girls to Sandy Point. While on their trip to Disc Golf Heaven, Stu, Sandy Point's infamous groundskeeper, gave them a tour of the supposedly haunted Lakeview cabin and gives them several first-hand accounts of strange happenings. Sean is fully ready for it all to wind down. Sheila mistakenly trusts her husband with scratchy lottery tickets. Ryan won't shut the fuck up about the shed. And Jason may finally be done with Starbucks and manicures. Discuss.
I don't remember a ton from this episode. I remember us spending a good amount of time, which was appropriate, on talking about your trip to Sandy Point, which I did love all of the details of everybody getting to know your experience. That was great.
Speaking of which, breaking the fourth wall, Stu just messaged me yesterday. He just listened to that episode, and we are talking back and forth about the spooky stories that you told that he had told you.
Yeah,
I know.
Right now.
Yeah,
crazy.
What is happening now is happening now.
Go back to then. When? Now. Now? Now. I can't. Why? We missed it. When? Just now. When will then be now? Soon.
So that was crazy, but he's a huge fan of that, and he enjoyed that episode.
That episode was the origin of Anxiety Alex.
Sure was.
Yeah. Yes.
No, you're the origin. It was just we called it out on that episode for sure.
I've had more than one person reference that, like in DMs.
That's great. As they should.
Yeah, that's the real me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm actually nervous all the time.
The confidence you see is just a facade.
Yeah. What is your perspective listening without being on the show? Because obviously it's impossible for me, but like.
I almost very seriously said to you guys, I don't need to be on the show anymore. I just want to listen to it. You guys, as the four of you, without being part of it, just listening back, I was like, I love it so much, and it would be totally fine if I wasn't on there, and I would just get to enjoy being a listener every episode.
But you wouldn't be able to go on the trips.
No, of course. And I'm not, there's no reason for me to not be involved. It's just like, I felt like if that day ever came, that the show would be so fine. You have filled in for me more than once, and it's been amazing each time. So I just enjoyed listening from the perspective of not being there and like listening back, but like just getting that first fresh listen. It was just so good.
But did you have FOMO? Did you feel like, oh,
I more than that felt like I hope they don't feel like I let them down. You know, that's more than anything. I of course wanted to be here, but I was just like, I'm part of the team. I don't want to feel like I didn't show up.
But you didn't show up.
No, I know, but I mean,
yeah, show must go on.
And I could have done it. It's just a matter of like.
All right. Speaking of the show must go on. Jesus Christ, how long are we going to let him wait? November 3rd is when we released this next episode. It was season 4, episode 14, and we called it the Jason Takeover Part 2. Is that how you say that word?
Sure.
Yeah, doesn't matter. Alex returns and makes the group whole again. Oh, you spelled it HOLE. That's weird.
Huh.
As Jason takes the reins. Oh, I'm taking reins tonight. See, it's happening again where it's all folding in on itself. In a sequel to the season 2 fan favorite vodka shot trivia. Continuing in on the Halloween spirit, he tests the crew's knowledge of horror movies, past and present, with everyone's favorite mystery vodka shots as the buzzers. In this game, everyone's a loser. The yuck faces were ever present. Sean gets in touch with his feelings. Alex embraces the anxiety nickname given to him while he was away. Ryan divulges his still present fear of Freddy Krueger, and Jason has a bathroom story that needs to be heard to be believed. Discuss.
I whooped some ass on that episode.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
I didn't think I would get a single answer correct because I am not a horror. Like I enjoy them. I just don't watch them. But I got a couple.
You did.
Yeah.
I wanted to get a lot more drunk, honestly. Next time we do that, full shots.
Yeah, no more wussy half shots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm good.
I want to be drunk.
I'll
within
remember
the first
this.
like 20 minutes. And
No.
then have
Careful what
Absolutely
you
not.
wish for.
chaos after that.
I cannot sit down in the bathroom without thinking of your part of that episode. It still boggles
Is
my
that
mind.
The bidet story, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The being able to taste the water.
I use my bidet every day, and I've never been able to achieve. I want to
Every time
You're like,
I literally
He's like,
want
he's trying to will it to happen. Yeah.
I want to know what you're talking about. And
It's-
I've not been able to feel it.
Unexplainable unless you experience it. It is, you just have to understand, like, I feel it in my mouth, on my mouth.
Maybe it's the Lockport water.
Yeah.
the city water.
It's weird to me that you feel it in your mouth because I like the thing is like I've gotten like spicy stuff on my skin and I can feel the spicy or like I can see where you have receptors in other parts of your body.
Yeah.
But the fact that it appears in your mouth is very weird. to me.
Yeah, dude. I wish it was a bit. I wish I could tell you now that I've been messing with you or whatever. But I use it every day and it happens every day and is a thing I just have to live with now.
Have you put other things on your butt to see if you did?
I'm not going to discuss
that's
that
a good-
kind of thing
on
this
that's-
podcast.
That's
Sheila.
Scientific.
Are we out of
Yeah.
time yet?
No, you've done the
Peanut butter.
control.
All
You've
right.
done the
Yeah.
experiment.
Yeah.
You have to,
Yeah.
you have to duplicate that
All
to
right.
make sure.
We're gonna have to put barbecue sauce.
Yeah.
and
No,
blue
but it's
cheese.
got to be a blind taste test. So
Right.
he
And
can't
we'll put
see
it
what
in
we're
squirt
putting in his butt.
bottles
Yeah.
and just squirt it on
Squirt it,
him.
What
yeah.
did we just put on your anus?
Yeah.
On the next, what's on Jason's
What's on
butthole?
Jason's anus?
That's going to be the bracket.
Yeah.
Janus. Janus.
What's
Jason's
on
anus.
Jason's
How did jelly beat barbecue sauce? At first, when we first started discussing it, I was a little worried, but now I don't know. I'm into it. Like, can we do that tonight?
Who's gonna? Would you use like a little spatula to apply it each time?
I think so. No, I think the squirt bottle is the
Squirt
best
bottle.
method.
Shake it
that
up.
makes more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
like the visuals I'm getting.
I do.
I don't like them.
We'll have to create like one of those 3-wall partitions where like it's blocking everything. But
Put a camera on your face as it's happening.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
There have got to be some Japanese game shows that are
Oh,
just like
100%.
this.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Guaki Serpi Niku.
Just imagining you on all fours with your face just like
Just going.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch?
Is that
you
Scott
said no
Stokely?
solids.
Yeah. Is that Scott Stokely's California barbecue sauce?
Jesus.
Speaking of Scott Stokely,
Yeah.
season 4, episode 15, released November 17th, is The Book and the Barbecue Sauce with Scott Stokely. The guys put together an episode that has been a long time in the making. Disc golf legend Scott Stokely hops on the mic and makes himself at home at Callahan Acres. Stokely shares candid stories, opinions, and life lessons that are larger than life, but also humblingly human and relatable. His entrepreneurial successes and failures, his beginnings with disc golf, and his commitment to bettering himself and others throughout the sport. He takes them behind the making of his autobiography, Growing Up Disc Golf. He takes them from behind.
That's not what I wrote.
Autobiography, Growing Up Disc Golf, and the evolution of Blue Power Disc Golf, which promotes disc golf for individuals with special needs and their families. Alex can't decide whether he's completely off smoking, while Sean gets misty-eyed about the delis. Ryan is learning how to catch 'em all, and Jason compares his nose to horror movie villains' backsides. Discuss.
Oh, yeah.
So that was the best episode of the season.
Yeah. You've said that several times.
Scott was incredible.
Yeah.
I really,
Incredible is the
really
perfect word for it.
liked his energy. It was very surprising. I didn't expect him to be as human as he was, to have the level of, this is going to sound terrible, but I didn't expect him to be as much of an intellectual as he was.
Sure.
And the stories and the level of detail that he went into, I was expecting a little bit more of a goofball, and I got somebody who I took a lot more serious by the time I had spent more time with him. It was great.
He mentioned something to the effect of he had to decide whether he was going to say everything or nothing.
Mm.
And you could tell that he had definitely embraced the, I'm going to say everything. I'm going to tell everything. Nothing's off the table.
Yeah.
The way he spoke revealed that over and over again.
I almost wish that looking back on that time and getting to know him a little bit more, his approach is the just jump in and figure it out.
Yeah.
Not very prepared. I'd love to see what Scott Stokely's life looks like if he takes a different approach and being a little bit more prepared with
Like how much he could freaking do.
Give himself more credit.
Yeah.
Because I think he could do a lot more if he didn't live out of a truck like he describes and enjoys. I'd love to see what his life looks like.
To use the Lauren Lakeberg expression, I think he really lives his life by the wind. That's the expression, right? Like he just goes wherever.
He lets it rip.
Yeah. And it's awesome, but imagine.
The last episode that we did prior to tonight's was season 4, episode 16. It was released Friday, according to Spotify. Making the Discovery with Michael Ferreira. The guys sit down for some real talk on a subject close to all their hearts: substance abuse and addiction. Their guest, Michael Ferreira, has recovered from substance abuse disorder and has been sober for 6 years, largely to the rediscovery of disc golf, the sport itself, and its community. He gets into his struggles, experiences with substance abuse, and his long and winding path to recovery, and what he can do to help. Mike is in the early stages of starting a recovery and sport disc golf club and has big plans to grow the club into a nonprofit organization that will aid those in the sport and outside it, using disc golf as the path to heal and rehabilitate. Alex gets lost in pimple popping videos, while Sean turns into a radio host from
1943.
Ryan has planted a flag on the nerd planet, and Jason can't help but feel sparkly. Discuss.
I've gotten a couple DMs from people that said that they could feel the sound effect that I put on when you said there was a tickle in your ear.
It was appropriate. You wanted to pull back from it. It was perfect.
No, you owned it. It was great.
Did they say that they could feel it in their butthole?
They did, but I know what they meant.
Got it.
I know what they meant. We all knew.
That episode was very nerve-wracking for me going into it, knowing how close it is to everyone's hearts here.
Yes.
And I wanted to make sure we did it justice. And I also didn't want it to be too heavy, because that's not really what we are.
Yeah.
But it's important. So I just wanted to make sure we hit the right notes. And I think coming away from it, we did hit the right notes. And a lot of the credit goes to Michael being a great guest, being open about everything. At the same time, like, he didn't take us like down in the dumps about it. He like kept it very, I don't want to say light, but he kept it like in the right tone and the right place, and in a way that like should help other people and helped change the way I define what was a good episode is like, did I come away from it thinking differently or feeling differently about something? And I did with this episode. To me, it's much more important to try and use disc golf to help people that are struggling versus getting more kids to play disc golf.
Yes.
Like that is a shift that I felt coming away from that episode.
What I was worried about was the same thing, but he didn't dwell on any of the negative aspects of it for a second.
Yep.
Right.
And it's not because he was intentionally not trying to talk about any of it. It's because I think in his mind, he's moving forward. He's moving on. He wants to do the right thing. He wants to help. He wants to be a positive role model.
Yeah.
And that helped him to not dwell on any of the, down in the dumps, negative parts of his life. And that was cool to see.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm glad that we didn't focus too much on negative parts of his life, because of that reasoning that moving forward has to happen. So let's not worry about the past.
Yeah, we can all imagine
anybody
what had
that's
taken
going to
place.
attend or that we want to help has had some negative things happen in their lives. So let's get together and work on making those things better.
Yeah. One comment I want to make that didn't really make it to that episode was, for anyone that may judge addicts or any situation like that, I would say tread lightly with that, because you don't know what it's like until you've been in it. There are the people that come out to Delwood and they set up their table for Narcan, which is to revive people if they're in an overdose. And we've had some disc golfers make comments like, they're peddling Narcan over there, but that's a life-saving method. And I think more people need to understand that it's more prevalent than you think. It's just hidden in the shadows, and it can happen to anyone. So before you judge, maybe educate yourself a little bit more.
Hell yeah.
All right. Our next episode is the one that you are currently listening to now.
Let's recap the
Man, what I really loved about what we did in the first half of this episode
You guys want to recap this episode?
Recap the cap.
I'm just down to
Recap the
talk
cap.
more about the Jason's taste testing show.
We'll get there.
Yeah, Deucer, put that one together.
I will.
Yeah,
Japanese
Whip that up.
game show.
Yeah.
Well,
Episode.
there's a couple
19.
phone calls that we'll make at the
The
beginning.
19th
of
hole. Uh-oh.
Damn it.
I just
There
gave
it
Sheila
is.
everything she
Yeah.
needs to make
Yeah.
the
Did that
right.
just come to fruition? Yeah. So we have this episode, and we got one more that we're going to do by the end of the year, and that is going to be the end of season 4 of Unstable Discourse.
Mhm.
So
We're doing that 2 weeks from tonight.
2 weeks from tonight. That means that
Yee.
episode.
I gotta get working
will
on
be out.
that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You guys have been give us anything.
I will tell you this.
Oh,
I have multiple group chats going, and I have to remind myself who I'm talking to so I don't spoil it for other people.
Wow.
So
Why?
one thing that
why?
I don't want to ruin it for myself, so please don't react to what I'm about to say.
Look at Jason.
What is
But
he
the
about?
last time, one of the last things I remember as I was re-listening to these episodes, specifically part 2, is you talk about Trinity and how you have to be rescued from the smoke monster.
Correct.
And Sheila and I have been rewatching Lost. So if this isn't like heavily Lost,
But not everybody's seen Lost. I can't go.
I'm planting that seed now. Incorporate some Lost shit if you haven't already.
If you know what's good for you.
Yeah.
Please.
I don't want to tell you what to do, but here's what you do.
I would like to take this time to also hint at some things next season.
Ooh.
Please.
We decided that 18 episodes is way too much,
Yeah.
Sean. So for
It was
next
a good
season,
idea.
look forward to less episodes, more better content.
Quality over
Quality,
quantity.
yes,
Yes.
exactly. And because we were so inspired by Destination Penetration, I think there will be a new Unstable Discourse Destinations. There might be, we have
Yeah.
one place in particular that is already scheduled.
Yeah. Next season is going to be one episode, but it is going to be
Yeah,
a
it's gonna be
doozy.
It's gonna be
Great.
a banger.
Boom.
Yeah, it
A
involves
6-month road trip.
Yeah,
Quit your
Right?
jobs, everybody.
Let's
Yeah.
do it.
Maybe 2. Who knows? Let's go visit Nico down in Houston,
Yeah.
Texas, huh?
Or what
the
else?
Scorpions.
What would you
He ain't
guys
worth
like
it.
to hear?
That's a really good question.
You know, we got some time. Send
Yeah,
in some-
listeners, we ask every now and then we ask of you things like, hey, leave a review for the show. Hey, leave a comment for the mailbag. Hey, this or that. This is a really good question Sheila just brought up. We would love to hear some feedback of the things that you have what have you liked the most? What would you like to see maybe more of? And I'm not shy to ask, what are things that you could do less of? I'll take all of that.
Yeah.
We want to make the best listening experience for you guys. I mean, granted, we do this for ourselves to some extent, but like when we know you guys are listening and people are getting something out of it, it makes all the difference in the world. So help us steer the ship.
Help us help you.
Yeah.
Alex, I have a question for you. If we were recording an episode of Unstable Discourse and I were to ask you what time is it, how would you answer that question?
There's a distinctly good chance that I might say it's mail time.
No, that's way too long.
That's good. That ain't right.
Mail time. That's
For the record, I've had a decent number of White Claws this
Yeah.
evening. Mail time.
Mail time.
Mail time.
Mail
Lauren's here, I
Jason,
promise.
there's a fat old mailbag to get
The
into.
show is, we even got some via Instagram, and that's where we're going to start things off.
Instagram.
Imps.
I got a question from Casey Mann via Instagram.
I know him.
He says, have a question for the mailbag. From your experience, do players sign up more for tournaments with a payout versus big player pack and trophy? I don't think I necessarily look too hard at that specifically when I sign up. I have plenty of discs, so payout is nice and all, but a big-ass trophy seems pretty cool now that I've been playing competitively for a few years now. Thanks, guys, and happy Festivus. Y'all need to do your own feats of strength.
And the airing of grievances as well.
Yeah, for sure.
From my perspective, and I'm going to go first because you guys have much more to say on this topic, I think. I would say that it comes down to each player's preference. Like there's enough players playing today that every tournament, for the most part, should do well numbers wise, regardless of what the players pack is, regardless of what the trophy is, because whatever the event is, there's enough people out there who are going to want what that event has. As long as it's not an event from an organizer who does a bad job, there's kind of something for everybody, I think.
I agree with you. And I think this is a question that we ask ourselves often enough is like, what is the bang for the buck and where is that, $63 to $68, where's every dollar going? We pride ourselves in spreading that out evenly, I think. We don't do, what did he refer to them as? Big trophies or we don't put a ton of emphasis on that because, and this is not an argument that we have within the group, but it's something that we discuss within the group because Ryan and I and Sheila are of the mindset that like we do so many of these that to focus on making these events have individual trophies would be very difficult for Ryan and then very difficult for anyone else that would be doing it if not Ryan.
I'm also of the mindset that making nearly 40 trophies for every event is very excessive. And I know
becomes monotonous for sure.
Yeah. I know there are so many divisions and there are so many players per division and everybody deserves a trophy if they win, but like at a point it needs to become more than about the trophy that you get, right? Because I just don't think that giving out 40 trophies seems like it waters it down unless they are all spectacular, and that's impossible. Mm-hmm. So we just don't put a focus on that because it can't be focused on every event because there are so many and it's just watered down. More than particularly a payout or specifically a player pack, it's about the total package.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's about the entire experience, maintaining the balance between the two.
Agreed.
Next question was submitted by Nick Fords. That's a new name for me. Is that a local homie?
That is Disc Golf Chicago, and that is the guy who was supposed to be the third person who's going to be here.
Yeah.
Right. He's
there it is. I thought I knew the name.
He does so much. It really broke my heart that he couldn't be here that time. It didn't work out, but he's cool as shit, by the way. When you guys get to meet him, you're going to love him.
I'll be the judge. Thank you very much. Do you acknowledge the perceived plateau in the growth of disc golf? What do you believe are ways for us to overcome that lull? What does the next 3 years look like as the sport and our local scene?
I don't feel a need to grow the sport anymore. The only thing that I want to grow is like access to it. I don't think there needs to be more players necessarily. I think there just needs to be more opportunities for people to play.
What I've seen is with the growth of the sport, in quotes, there has been a growth of people trying to make money off of it. And it's weird. Like I've seen a bunch of new companies pop up saying, we're going to grow the sport. And I'm like, how? And then you go to their website and it's a generic about section. I don't know. It's strange. We're in that weird, is disc golf getting big to where now there's people that are like cash grabbing.
If you've never seen the documentary about baseball by Ken Burns, it's usually on PBS. You can find it anywhere now. It is an intense and phenomenal look into how baseball started through present day. But it is told in a way that just sucks you in a way, like even if you're not a fan of baseball, which most of his documentaries do, it's so riveting. But there is a point in the Negro leagues of baseball where I think disc golf is now, where these players and in the white leagues as well start to realize that they have the power. They are being paid next to nothing while the owners of said teams and leagues are making hand over fist money, where they are starting to demand that they be paid because they are the experience, right? And so I think we are at that point now too, where a lot of the players and a lot of the people that are in disc golf are now focused on, okay, this is real enough where I can make a living, I can make money, I can get a piece of this pie. And you're right, it's very uncomfortable most of the time, like a lot of these websites and a lot of the companies. And even at the disc swap a couple days ago, there were tables full of dyed discs. How much time did all of those take? Like we went through the disc dyeing process and it still boggles my mind. If you want to create that art, that's great, but it's never going to make you money. Like real, true, quit your job, start a disc dyeing, and how many of these companies are other than just selling discs?
I won't name this company, but there was a company recently that came to us wanting to get their wares in our shop, and they were selling minis retail price for $27. a mini.
What made them
it's-
worth $27?
I don't know.
Nothing.
And I feel bad because in one aspect, I'm like, oh, these are young kids that are trying to
Hustle.
And you want to
And
respect it.
Exactly.
And they were.
Yeah.
They were not doing a bad job. It was just what was being, and I'm going to use the word peddled. What was being peddled was not anywhere, the juice was not worth the squeeze. It didn't make sense.
Yeah.
And I had to be very kind of like just business with them and kind of go, nah, dog, I'm good. And they were still being pushy. And I was like, respectfully kind of said to them, like, what you're doing is not creative. You're not bringing anything to the game that's making the game different.
Right.
If you were, then we would be having a longer conversation, but you're not. So I'm going to have to respectfully pass on trying to work together. And I think that's kind of lends to what Sheila was trying to say with the Grow the Sport. There's a lot of that happening. What we have tried to do and what we have maintained as a group, I'm going to include Ryan in on this. We've focused efforts on local. We've focused efforts on experience. We put a lot of eggs in that basket.
And we give back to our own community. We're not just selling shit.
Yes. And I think that some other bigger companies do that. I wish that other big companies would lead the charge with that. And we've talked about this a bit. I'd love to see some of the Innovas and Discrafts invest some of that capital into courses, into private courses where the experience can continue to happen. We don't need a Zone OS. Discraft, if you're listening, we don't need that. Don't put your money into that. Put your money into property where you can say, this is what disc golf should look like.
Yep.
I'm screaming it from the rooftops and I'm like, what's going on? Does everybody have earplugs in? How are they not seeing the people that have this capital that it's about having more places to do it, not another disc on the market? And this is coming from a guy that professionally sells disc golf discs. Please.
Yeah. Because it needs to evolve. You can't just keep doing discs. Like, it'll turn at some point. Like, it needs to be something more substantial. And to the other point about the creativity with the minis, I'm not mad about a $27 price point whatsoever if it's worth it.
They weren't.
The minis that Aaron Havoc made for us, I don't even remember. I think I gave her $50 for that.
Yeah,
and I would have given her $100.
She's hand making them.
Yes.
That's
I
different.
love that thing.
These were not.
Yeah.
Love that. So it's not about, oh, it's a mini. It's
So yeah,
$27.
I don't want to.
It's like,
I don't want to lump that Aaron Havoc hustle creativity where there is something where you're wanting to make an expression. These were not that at all.
Well, that's the problem though, because the time and the effort that it took for Aaron to make those makes it, again, the juice not worth the squeeze in the long run. You can't make a living on it, right? But making those metal minis, you can put that stuff in a CNC machine or a 5-axis or a plasma cutter, whatever it is, and make those so many at a time with very little effort. Not to say that they didn't put effort into them. I didn't see them. But that's what takes away the special, the tickle in the air, right?
The AI to not AI. What is non-AI?
I mean, we see this too.
Normal
like
intelligence?
Some companies
instead of artificial
that pop up
Organic?
on like the Facebook pages. This is a whole different episode, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where
Yeah,
like
we can go deep on this.
I've seen random people that aren't actual people like saying, "Get this on a shirt."
Yes.
And it's either stealing artwork or something so gimmicky, but that's capitalism. So what I'm saying is, if you want to continue to see disc golf grow in a positive way, you vote with your dollars.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm sure a lot of people have this shirt. The best dad by par.
I was just going to
Who
say
makes that? Where does that come from? China?
Stop
Who designed
buying
that?
this stupid shit because those people are not looking out for the sport that you love. I've been trying to tell everybody for so long, like, I'm not saying, hey, only spend your money with me. I'm just saying myself, my wife, my best friend are shining examples. We're shining examples of the people you should be spending your money with.
Let the record show he pointed at Alex.
Hot dog fingers.
There are other us's out there. Look at the Natty. This is so perfectly referencing, just covering that episode. Those are the types of people you should be spending your money with. Mike Badka in Madison with Glide. People that are investing back into your local communities. I'm not worried about plateau or not. It's not going to change my game plan. I was never going to outgrow what I was capable of in the first place. So I don't think of it in terms of plateau or not. Other people shouldn't either.
Yeah.
Because your local scenes are still alive and well.
Totally.
So what are you doing as a member of that community. Everything is still happening. So don't look around and go, oh, it's different now. Is there anything that you did to make that change positive or negative? I have to ask the question back to the person that's asking it.
Yeah.
In this particular instance, Nick Forge is doing a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but anybody else where this question, anybody else who has the balls to ask this question,
yes,
that
it's
is
being
the-
asked
that
by
is-
a lot of people.
That is the correct response.
Yeah.
Well, this is we're in the tween stage. This is the acne and my voice is changing and the puberty stage of the sport where it was growing so fast. And now all of a sudden we are all seeing the awkward phase, and it's just going to get more awkward before all the weeds are cut down and the lawn is mowed again. And, it looks manicured. That's just what's going to have to happen.
And don't let the voice of this awkward phase be Brody Smith. Please, for the love of God. Moving on. Here we go.
That was a long one.
That was good.
That's what she
Good
said.
question.
I loved hearing that. Also,
You said it was short before. Now you said it was long.
yeah.
God. Okay.
I'm all
depends
over
on
the
your
place. Yeah.
It's true.
44 and a half is my current age, and I've never heard the term "the juice worth the squeeze," and that is one of
What?
the best things I've ever heard in my life.
What?
Really?
Ryan says that
My mouth
all
fell
the time.
open when you said that.
You've never heard that?
Never heard that in my
Stop.
life.
I said it and specifically referenced Donnie, who I got it from several episodes ago.
I missed that.
Very
I
weird.
just loved hearing that.
Idiot.
Come on.
Mikey Davies Jr. has our next question.
Aw.
What's the next big step in event organization or media coverage? We're kind of having that discussion right now.
Clowns. Next.
Yeah. I'm going to go back to what I said in the previous one. Stop pushing for larger things to be happening. What's wrong with what's happening now? That is the biggest problem with our society, where our expectations are like through the roof. Why? I don't think there's anything wrong with what's happening right now. I don't think that DGPT needs to reinvent the wheel. I don't think that what we're doing on a more local level needs to be reinvented. It's fine. What more could there be? At the end of the day, it's people playing disc golf and competing for the lowest score. Let's just slow down, have more respect for the fact that we have this thing. And I'm going to reference skateboarding. We've seen it go up. We've seen it come down. You look at it now, there's definitely stuff happening on a larger level now than there was before, but not in a way where it's being super glossy and commercialized. It's being done by the people within the sport, a la DGPT and PDGA. So some of the biggest gripes that people have, and maybe I've been on that in that conversation too of having gripes, we're complaining about the things that we just shouldn't be complaining about, and we should just be putting more positivity into it than worrying about how, well, when's it going to be different from what, and then it's going to get so far away from the roots of it that it's going to be unrecognizable. And then guess what? Guess who's not going to play anymore? That guy. I've seen him come and go, where the people that have complained to the high heavens about like, oh, when's it going to be better? When's it going to be on ESPN? And those don't even play anymore. Stop worrying about it.
I would say that, first off, I don't think that the question came from somebody who's complaining. I think it was more of a probe, just like and I think that's what's happening is like everybody wants a voice in the conversation. Everybody has a platform. Everybody has a chance to say something and be heard. So people like to ask questions that they think will get responses and get and
No,
generate,
I very much enjoy the guy that asks. He's a very sweet guy. I'm just saying, I hear this conversation in the shop quite a bit. I see it a lot on Reddit. I see it a lot in places where there's a lot of negative energy around it. It's as somebody that is trying to push it forward, small scale or not, it's very aggravating because I don't know what it is they think it's going to be.
I don't think they think about that either. I think it's just the formula in their mind of how do I say something that gets a conversation going or makes me seem like I'm thought-provoking in some way. And that's like the place where so many people gravitate to. It's like that's the funnel that thought process goes into.
Yeah, I think it's a really common attitude to get 3/4 of the way through a project and then start wondering about what the next one is going to be before finishing the one that you're on. I do a lot of woodworking, so like once the end table that I've built is mostly together and I have to start sanding it, right, and putting the finish on it, that's when you start to wander and think, okay, I've got this one in the bag. What am I going to do next? And then you screw up what you're doing, the easy parts, right? And you don't focus on refining what you've built. So, what you've taken so long to build, you're at 96% And that last 4% is almost impossible to get. And so focusing on that 4%, focusing on the tournaments that we're running and polishing them to a point where they are more enjoyable just by upping our game in steps at a time, right? That's the way through, not dropping the end table and starting on a chest of drawers because you never finished the first one.
Mhm.
You got to see it all the way through. And we need to see it all the way through. Yeah. And when we're done, we're going to be super proud of what the sport is and what it's become. And all of that awkwardness that Sheila was talking about is going to start to drop away. And we are going to see the end result of the work that we've put in. But you have to do the work.
That's so sad.
I would say, rather than the next evolution, or the thing that I've seen recently that I think answers that is the video work that somebody like Doc is doing. Before every tournament, you and Doc are creating a video presentation for this event. Then he's on site capturing the actual action of what's happening, and there's a recap afterwards. The video stuff is bringing the events to people who weren't even there, and that's a really cool evolution. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not worried necessarily about what's next, but I'm like, I'll shine a spotlight on what has evolved recently that I think is really cool, and it's that.
Let's do one final question. Anybody that submitted and we didn't get to it tonight, don't feel like we'll never answer your question. We got a whole season ahead of us, and maybe we'll bring that into next season.
So yeah, there were so many good questions that sparked really good conversation.
Yeah, where have you been all season?
Yeah, right?
Oh, got him.
So our final question is going to come from Sir David Cope.
Nice.
He wants to know if we have a favorite episode of this year, and why was it our favorite? I think that's a nice.
There were 3 best episodes.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, we already know Alex's.
I'm going to say Destination Penetrated.
Yeah,
there was so much more to gain for us. I touched on it earlier. There was so much more for us to gain from that episode than just another record. I love the trip. I love the trip. I love the fact that we drove. Obviously, we were going to drive there. I love the road trip aspect.
Yeah, did you guys touch on like that you looked in each other's ears while we were on this trip?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That's how deep we got.
Yeah.
For the record, Jason and Alex get way into Q-tipping their ears.
Yeah,
the argument is not whether you should or not. I know there's a huge divide in that. They do it. They take great pleasure in it. I do not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a fan of cotton balls.
Oh,
not a fan of
go.
Q-tips.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do it. We looked in.
Camera?
We looked in Jason's ears. Very clean,
spotless.
Very impressed. Tell him what happened with my ears.
Also spotless.
Also spotless.
Yes. I'm a 4 Q-tipper. He's a 0 Q-tipper.
You use 4 Q-tips a day?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Oh,
I love it.
Why?
I love it.
Dude, it's
2 per
one a
ear.
day.
2 per ear right out of the shower.
0. I don't remember the last time I touched a Q-tip. Probably in the last 25 years.
You don't like cotton touching cotton?
Nope. And my ears were as spotless as Jason's, just for the record.
Yeah. I think the whole,
which
like,
one
don't
of you
use...
gets more pleasure in your day-to-day routine?
Me.
That's Jason.
It's all about the feeling. That is like, I can't control my eyes when they half close when I first put it in there because it's like, it's just one of the best feelings.
I wish I had Q-tips right now.
No.
Jesus Christ.
Absolutely not.
The whole like don't use them thing, I think, is just on a case-by-case basis. There are some people that overproduce wax, and if you are the type that does, you're just pushing it in further, and a Q-tip is not for you. But for everybody else,
A Q-tip is
Ask
not
your
for
doctor
you.
if Q-tips are right for you.
Well, getting back to Cope's question and the reason we were on Q-tips, we went deep on like
With a Q-tip.
yeah. Well, it's like the bonding though.
For sure.
Just hanging out in the hot tub.
It was
and
3
like,
days
was
of bonding.
great.
Yeah.
It was a very
Lots of bondage.
It's definitely my favorite episode of the season.
Good food. We went to that ice cream place and we all got regular twist cones when then we realized that
there was
were,
like 27 flavors of twist cones that we could
After we had
there was
all
a
gotten
lot
just
more.
chocolate
And we all
vanilla.
Yeah.
one of those
Because
girls
their
that worked there
photo.
were like, hey, you could get more. I'm like,
Yeah.
you look like you're not from here. Would you like to try one of our 28 flavors?
girl,
we have?
customer
No.
service. Shit.
No.
I also, that episode gets big points because of just the organic and the serendipity and the stuff that just came together.
Mm-hmm.
It almost didn't happen, period. It did happen. It ended up being awesome. We ended up getting to do the episode with these guys. Like, they were cool. They were available. All the things just kept lining up for it to be a great trip and a great
I
episode.
think that's a good lesson. It kind of like how earlier today we sat down with 0 idea for a logo and then it's the best one yet.
Yeah.
So like if
It's the
you're
Scott
not
Stokely
feeling
method.
it, push through that uncomfortable.
Just do it.
And then
Right.
Yeah.
something good will come out.
It is one of the worst things you could do is get in your own way. For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Looking forward to more opportunities like Destination Penetrated.
And I will say, I agree with you, but my other favorite episode is Delwood and Dragons Part 2, because the first one, we had zero expectations because you would tell us nothing about what was happening, right? But knowing that we had to do that again and that you were going to go above and beyond what you had already done and what we had already experienced, then when there was a direction in my head, that was Q-tips in your ears, right? For me, because once we dressed up and we had a game to play and we only half knew what to expect, but there was more, just the anticipation of that next episode was enough for me.
That's fun. That's good.
Great answer.
I agree. Circle gets the square.
I'm waiting for your sound effect to close with the mailbag.
Oh, right. I pulled it nice and slow this time.
It's different every time.
Yeah.
And that's a wrap on the mailbag. Thanks again for everybody for submitting those questions. And like Jason said, we know we got a lot of good ones that we didn't get to today, but that's fine. We'll get to them when we can. And Jason does keep a stockpile of good questions we can come back to.
For sure.
But just want you to know we appreciate your contributions and everything you guys do to contribute to the show makes it better. So thank you, everybody.
And a huge shout out to Lauren. It took quite a bit for her to shut up on this episode.
Good Lord.
No one actually still believes that she's actually in the room, but she is for sure.
Yeah. I'm looking at
thanks
her.
for her. Yeah.
On the Lauren Lakeberg topic and the Scott Stokely topic of just diving in, I'll shout out you, Jason, for asking me to do your family photos, which is something that I'm not a photographer. I don't know anything about really taking photos. I mean, I know a little bit because I took a class with Lauren Lakeberg one time. But it ended up being a really fun thing to do and got me interested and willing to do more of that. So I was just like, hey, we'll figure it out. It'll be cool, and just dove in. And
yeah, it was great. It was a good time.
Yeah. My mom loves you. My sister loves you.
Passing grade.
Hell yeah. All right, well, that is enough for this episode, I think. So thank you guys for listening. We will be back in 2 weeks with the actual finale. Say it. Say my name.
Do you want me to say
Delwood and Dragons?
I got chills. So excited. Thank you guys for listening. Until next time, keep it on the fairway.
See you.
Y'all be good.
on the next episode? Unstable Discourse is produced by Sheila Callahan. Edited by Ryan Fancher. Beats provided by Alex Seminary. And produced in association with Unstable Disc Golf Gear. Look good, feel good, play good.
Unstable Discourse is a Top Secret Studios production, baby.
Ryan did say he had a small one.